All right. So I should be live now. Y'all can let me know in the live chat if it's coming through smoothly here. How you doing, Alfred? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Um, so I haven't been able to do a live stream for roughly 2 months, month and a half to 2 months, something like that, something like that. Um, and I just thought I'd go live tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's isn't easy for me to do these live shows, right now with my, current circumstances and situations, you know what I'm saying? So I do what I can when I get the ability to live stream. It's just everything is a project, everything is more difficult than what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Just always there's always something that's going to get in the way. There's always, something here, something there, something everywhere. That's always going to just get in the way of you doing whatever it is that you have to do. Channel I'd recommend checking out that speaks about that. That I find a lot of what he says is actually true. The YouTube channel name Born into a Corrupt System. I recommend checking his channel out. Not everything he says is true, but a good chunk of it is reasonable. So let's see. So I did contact Mr. Judah because he did a live stream the other day, maybe what, like 3 4 days ago, something like that. And he said some nonsense on there. So I was like, man, if you want, I'll bring you up live and we can just have a discussion. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully he'll pop in here in a little bit and we can do a discussion regarding those subjects he spoke about. And yeah, man, it's just bizarre what's going on today. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's just so bizarre and strange the doctrines that people believe and teach on the internet. Like I'll give you an example. Like some of you might remember from like 6 months ago, 7 months ago, I was talking to this dude named New Light Studios, right? YouTube channel New Light Studios. I believe the guy's name's like Mark or Mike or something like that. And this dummy was like, well, the rapture is going to happen on the September 23rd. And well, why is that? Well, because Brother Joshua, a priest in South Africa, said that God showed him a dream that it will happen on the 23rd. Ask him, well, how long have you been into this like rapture watching, as you guys call it? He's like, oh, it's only been like 6 months to a year for me. And I tell him, well, hey, man, I don't mean to rain on your parade, as the saying goes, but people have been saying this literally for like what, 10, 15 years? Like literally the exact same date that this guy Joshua is speaking about, right? So everybody's on TikTok acting like, oh, this is, such a huge revelation, such a divine prophecy that Joshua was seeing. It's like knuckleheads, if y'all were around the internet for a couple of years, y'all would be aware that people have been saying, oh, September 23rd, September 23rd, literally for like 10 to 15 years on the internet. Like, I mean, seriously, I remember being in school, out in the basketball court and seeing people upload these videos on YouTube. Oh, September 23rd's coming up. Is it going to be, a portal to hell that CERN opens? Is the rapture going to happen? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's ridiculous, So the whole reason I brought this cat up is you look on his channel today, right? You look at his channel today and what he's talking about. It's all these new dates, right? All these new dates. Oh, could it have been, May the 20th? Could it have been April the 15th? And then when that don't happen, oh well, it's next month. It's like, are you guys not smart enough that you can't figure out that the Bible literally tells you that nobody knows what day Christ will come back? In fact, The Bible says that Christ doesn't even know himself, which, by the way, fun fact, that proves that Christ is not the Heavenly Father. Christ is not the Supreme God. Because if he was, well, how did he not know? I'll quote the verse directly for you. Mark chapter 13, verse 32. Of that day and that hour, nobody knows, not even the angels in heaven, neither Christ, but only the Father. So that's a cut on you Trinitarians there, because it says that the Father knows what day, but the Son doesn't know what day. So how could they be the same? How could Christ know all if he literally says he don't know? He doesn't know the day, but God knows the day. So that's just a fun side note. And by the way, that dude is a Trinitarian based on our conversation. So I mean that boy, oh, he's cut. That boy's cut. So I do see Mr. Judah in the comment section. I will drop a link, but the link will only be for Mr. Judah tonight. I don't have too much time, so I'm only going to bring him up here tonight, and then another day I will do an open panel for, numbskulls like Jill or Preterist, to click the link and come up here. But tonight is not their night, right? Today is not their day. But you know what I'm saying? Like, going back to that Joshua character, and this New Light Studios clown. It's like, why are these guys getting, tens of thousands of subscribers and, thousands and thousands of views on their shorts and videos? It's like, aren't people smart enough today to realize that these dummies on TikTok don't know the day that Christ is coming back? You know what I'm saying? Like why is this such a shock to people to find out, oh, well, they got the date wrong. Well, what's the next date you're going to pick? And then they believe the next one. Like, seriously, like, going back to the September 23rd nonsense, people were literally, giving away their homes, emptying their bank accounts and giving the money away. One dude sold his car for $10. A mother gave her children up for adoption. Why? Well, because Jesus was coming back on the 23rd to save everybody. It's like, really? Like people are not smart enough to see this? Like, all you got to do is literally read your Bible, and it literally tells you nobody knows what day it'll happen. So why is everybody believing these simps and knuckleheads on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or whatever these guys use, and just running with it? You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. Yo, how you doing, my guy Luke? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Judah said, I'll join in a bit after I'm done recording audio for my video edit. Yeah, that's cool, man. Just let me know, like in the comment section here in the live chat, just let me know when you're available, and I will drop a link for you to hop on here. Galapagos, yo, what's up, Galapagos? I hope you're doing well, my friend. Galapagos said, hi, ETT, I'm watching from work. Yeah, hope you're doing well, my friend. All right, well, bear with me 1 second. The link in the chat is only for Judah tonight, so nobody else click it. And before I bring him up here, someone else made a statement. This brother here said, the word rapture isn't even in the Bible. Well, that is true. The word rapture is not in the Bible. But with that being said, the concept of the rapture is in the Bible. Like, I'll give an example. The word America is not in the Bible, but we see America spoken about in the Bible, like, metaphorical terms to describe her. The word reincarnation is not in the Bible, but we see references to what we call reincarnation today. Nuclear weapons are not directly named in the Bible, but we see prophecies in there that are referring to those. Right? So I agree the word rapture is not in the Bible, but the concept of the rapture is in the Bible. Like, I'll give an example. The word rapture, by definition, means to gather together, right? Like if you have a cluster, you'll gather them together, right? That's what the word rapture means, to gather. So when we say in Matthew 24, verse 29, on down, it says, when Christ comes back, he's going to send his angels around the world to gather together his elect, scattered among the earth. Well, that's the rapture right there. It says to gather them together, where the word rapture means to gather, right? So the word rapture is not in the Bible, but certainly the concept of the rapture is found in the Bible. That is true. So with these guys going around talking about rapture, 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 they're not wrong. But the part they are mistaken on is thinking that they know a date and time. So again, the concept is true that Christ is going to return, send his angels to gather together his people from around the world. That is true. But by them saying that there's like a date set for it, that part is not true. That is the lie. And a lot of people don't know, but there's different concepts of a rapture. Like there's something called a secret rapture, where people believe that on any random day, at any moment, Christ could just return to the world, gather the people, they'll just disappear out of thin air, and then they'll go away, and then the tribulation begins. And, it'll be like 7 years of hell on earth or something like that. Well, first of all, it can't be a secret thing because the Bible says, Revelation chapter 1, verse 7, he comes with clouds, and every eye is going to see him, even they that pierced him. So every eye is going to see Christ when he comes back. I'll give you a bonus example. If it was some secret event, well, then why is Revelation the sixth chapter? It talks about the rich men, the mighty men, and the kings of the earth running to hide in the dens of the mountains to hide from the face of him that sits on the throne. Well, why the hell are they running from him if they can't see him? Because it's a secret thing. So the Bible clearly shows that it's something that everybody's going to see and witness. You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you that some people just don't know what's going on. I see you in the back chat. I'll bring you up in just a second. He said, who are the souls that are beheaded if there is a rapture? Well, let's look at it this way, right? Remember, the rapture happens at the end of the Great Tribulation. Like literally the verse I quoted earlier, Matthew 24, verse 29, it says immediately after the tribulation of those days. So that's talking about after God's people are persecuted, after the MOTB, after wars, riots, famines. That's afterwards. So people who are killed for the gospel, martyrs, or whatever word you want to put on it, that happened prior. Right? That happened prior to the rapture taking place. So those souls, they died and they are at rest. And when Christ comes back, he's going to rise them up. But that's a whole nother, video lesson in itself that could be like 30 minutes. Said Jesus doesn't return 3 times. Yeah, that's right. That's right. According to the scriptures, it says that there is one day of the Lord. It doesn't say days of the Lord. It says day. Like I'll give an example. Like if you read, what is that, Amos chapter. Let me even pull that up real quick. Bear with me a second. I'll read it directly from the text, just so I don't butcher what it says. Bear with me for a second. Just 1 second here. Yeah. It says, verse 18, it says, woe unto you who desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and laid his hand upon the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it at all? So the point is, it says day, not days. So it's not multiple comings of Christ. That's what people try to claim. Oh, well, he returns before the tribulation to save his chosen, and then he comes back at the end. It's like, that's not what it says. Like, well, where are you getting that from? That's not what it says. Okay, let me see. Yo, Jude, is this you?
Yep.
Okay.
This is
Can you sit a little closer
this
to
is
the
definite.
camera?
You said what?
Can you sit a little closer to the camera?
You want me to cam up?
No, you don't have. I'm not saying to put it on. I'm just saying that you sound a little quiet. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, better.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
All right,
Do I
perfect.
sound good on your end?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I mean, there's certain avenues that we can take the conversation. I seen that video, the live stream you did the other day. In response to me and the other subjects you talked about. So let's just clarify for the people watching now. And by the way, I hear some echo in the background. Are you watching on TV or something in the
Oh no
background,
no.
or what's
My
going on?
microphone is close. I use speakers on my. I use speakers on my computer. I can turn them down.
Yeah, yeah. If you can turn it down slightly, that's good.
All
But if
right.
you want to just clarify for the audience who might not have seen your live stream, what would you say is the point of disagreement? Or as you said, you were trying to
S-
correct me on something you believe I was incorrect on. Could you share
So,
for the audience so they're up to date with what's the
yeah, sure.
subject of
So,
discussion?
my problem, not problem, but so I disagree with ETT on the GMS doctrine. He doesn't believe that GMS have the 100% doctrine, and he definitely doesn't believe the Earth is round. Um, I have no problem with ETT. I kind of figure I kind of feel like he's doing a better job at keeping the commandments than I do, and I still learn from ETT and the GMS prophets, but don't mean I'm bashing ETT. I'm base I, me myself. I think that GMS do have a 100% doctrine. I just hopped on the panel just to prove my belief on why I personally believe GMS have 100% truth. Um, then I don't believe the Earth is flat because if my main purpose in the Earth being flat, I question like, okay, if the sun is like a light bulb, right, and you got water below, if you if you put a if you let's say for instance if you had like a cup of water and you place it in like a glass dome with a light bulb, eventually it's gonna moisture is gonna collect on the dome where like the dome itself would just be moist. So if the Earth was in, I think if like the sun was enclosed within the Earth, like in a dome, I
Well,
think it would be
let's
raining everywhere.
real quick, Mr. Jude. I'll call you that because that's what the audience knows you as. Well, let's deal with one topic at a time. So, just to confirm, are you a official member of GMS? What camp? Like what state are you
I'm not an
affiliated
official
with?
member of GMS. I ran into GMS, the Wada Yaba Shem Yaoshai. I ran into GMS. I got because last year I rejected the word of Yaba Shem Yaoshai because I was following GOCC, which there was a number of false prophets. They teach false doctrine. So last year I ran into them and I asked them questions about the GMS because they seen my YouTube channel last year and they offered me their phone number. I told them no thanks. Um, so last year I remember them telling me, "What if we're in the FEMA camps and what if you get out there?" Because he says real lonely being in this truth. It really is being lonely in this truth. We're around heathen all day. If it's not the ethnic heathen, it's the some Jacob act like heathen too. So it's a spiritual heathen also too. So your family members might act like heathen. Um, your family members might hate you, try to go against you since you're in this truth. Because if you're in this truth, you're gonna have a different spirit from everybody. So you're gonna be the world's reject. So it could be really lonely getting in this truth. So that's what they told me. That's the last conversation they had since last year, right? So I thought about what they said and looked at my family members because they hate me too for no reason.
All right.
Then
Well,
I figured,
I understand. I understand what you're saying, though. But let's just try to keep it precise to the subject. Now, the first
that's what I
one,
was explaining
let's
why.
acknowledge this here, right?
Yeah,
About
that's why
GMS
explaining why I
having.
joined GMS. So anyway, fast forward. I thought about all that shit, and I prayed to run into GMS because I prayed to the Yaoshai he could put upon their spirits, so like I could just meet up with them on that same exact place. So I run into the GMS prophets on the same exact street that I found them on in Chicago. I was like, "Oh wow, this go to prophets! I can't believe my prayer was answered." So I just dashed over there, and then I said, "Hey, shalom, brother. You guys GMS?" And they said, "Yeah." Then I said, "I'm the guy from last year." They remember me too, and then they said, "Oh yeah, you are the guy from last year." So anyway, I told them that I also prayed to run into the prophets, and I told them about my YouTube channel. I reconsidered my approach from last year because I told him I wasn't ready because I didn't have my doctrine down packed. I wasn't keeping the commandments good enough. I wasn't following as the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. I told them I didn't follow the right camp, and they said it's not about the camp because we don't care what camp you're from, or if you start your own camp, or if you're non-affiliated. We only care what you teach. If you teach the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because not all elect will be GMS members, because they'll say that too. So, yeah, from there, I took down the elder's phone number. He said, because I live 1 hour and 40 minutes away, so I told him due to financial issues and my
Hey
schedule, I can't
Judah,
always come up here.
real quick.
So they said just check in with the
O-
camp. So
Okay,
that's how I
that's
joined
fine.
them.
Hold on a second. I don't want to chime in while you're having your story, but let's just try to not make it a 10-minute explanation, though. If you could just round it up within a minute or two, just so we can have an interaction. Because as I said, I do have limited time tonight.
Oh
Just
yeah,
a
my bad.
reminder. You're good, but just real quick. So my position is, I want you to all keep this in mind. I've been listening to Great Millstone since like late 2015, early 2016. So literally over 10 years now. I've been listening to this congregation of Israelites, and the apostles they know about me. You could ask Tahar, you could ask Gabar, a Ramlob. Rakah might not know about me, but the three top guys know about me and actually are subscribed to my YouTube channel, at least Tahar is. And he mentions me in a couple of his YouTube videos throughout the years. He's seen a few of my discussions, a few of my debates. So my position on Great Millstone, I believe Great Millstone, they are the top camp out of the One West split, right out of the One West school. I believe that Great Millstone is the most on point camp compared to all these, 25 different variations out there that came down from One West. I do believe that. But with that being said, they don't have 100% truth. There are a few subjects that they clearly are in error of, so when you bring these subject up to people affiliated with the camp or whatnot, they'll just refer to you all. Well, that's just a scoffer, that's just, this and that. But the truth is, if you're not allowed to question what, leaders in charge over you or what groups are saying, well, if you can't question them, how are you going to find out if they're being truthful or not with what they're saying? There's a saying that goes, the truth doesn't fear an investigation, right? So if somebody's teaching something, the way you'd find out if it's true or not, and does it stand up against criticism? Like, say, for instance, when we talk about having works for salvation, right? Faith and works for salvation. When people push back against that, we're able to defend why we stand on that and why we teach that. Somebody said, well, you're not allowed to question it. It's like, okay, well, how the hell are you supposed to know if you're telling the truth or not? So let me give a little pushback against you on this subject. And I'd say we really can just keep it basic here. Do you know about the year 2000? Does that ring a bell? Because I don't believe you've been watching Great Millstone for very long. So when I say the
I was
term
born in
2000, year
206, so
2000,
no.
real quick, hear me out. When I say the year 2000, do you know what I'm referring to?
No.
Okay, so let me break it down for you. So back in the late 90s, Great Millstone went out on the streets and was saying that they know for a fact that Christ will return by the year 2000. They were going out teaching that Christ would return by the year 2000. Obviously, that did not happen because here we are, 26 years later, right? So that's one point to show that they don't have 100% truth because just off of the start, they made a prediction, 27, 28 years ago, back in the 90s, that Christ would return by the year 2000, and that did not happen. So, how could you say they have 100% truth without question if they gave a false prophecy back in the 90s? What do you got to say about that?
Well, first of all, uh, back in the '90s, first of all, I don't really think that was a. Well, I don't know too much about the situation. My view, I really don't think they was prophesying anything. There was probably estimation.
Yeah, but hold on a second. But listen to what I'm telling you. I'm a person who's watched these guys for literally 10 years, back since you were in school, man. So when I tell you that they were going around in the '90s, and you can ask fellow people who might have been in their camp back then, who broke off to other schools, Israelite congregations or whatnot. You could talk about that, but about their time in the camp, and it'll tell you, yeah, yeah, they were saying, back in like 1997, 1998, that Christ would return by the year 2000. And then when that didn't happen, a lot of guys left the group. You know what I'm saying? So this is a fact of what I'm saying here. You can say that you're unfamiliar with it, that's fine. But I'm just giving you an example of how the group can't have 100% truth when they gave a false prediction.
Um, well, if that was a prediction, then well, I mean, well, if that was a prediction, then yeah, they weren't right about that prediction. I mean, you
So,
could look
so
in
do
the
they
'90s
still
too. We
wait?
weren't
So
living in the end
hold on a
times.
second. So would it be fair to say they have 98% truth then, from your perspective?
Well, we can make mistakes, so they that was a mistake that they made,
I
far as
agree it was a
getting the
mistake, but
prophecy
don't you
wrong.
think? But don't you think that's a serious thing by telling people that they know for a fact or a certainty that Christ would be returned by a certain year? Like, don't you think that's strange? Like how, like just recently we had this example of these guys saying that Christ would return on the 23rd. Obviously, that's not true. That is false. So those people obviously don't have the full truth. There could be certain things they believe that might be truthful, but certainly not everything they believe is true. Like, I'll give you an example. Something they believe that is true is they believe on Christ. That's a true statement. But believing that his rapture is going to happen on just a random day to save them, that part's not true. So some people can believe certain things that are true and still at the same time believe things that are not true. So what's your faults?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it was like I just think it was a mistake that they made. It doesn't mean that they don't have 100% truth because I do like the how they set up the prophecy. The prophecy is right. Um, the men of the Lord will be persecuted. No, tribulation will come first. Like famine, wars, economic collapse, civil war, all that good shit. Right after that will come the MOBT system, the mark of the beast. Right after Mark of the Beast will come the new war. Well, not new. I mean, Armageddon, and then right after Armageddon comes the chariots. Then nuclear destruction comes. Thank God. But yeah. So if they get the prophecy down right and down pack, and they got the name down pack too, because it says that they should call upon his name. So obviously he does have a name. Um, if they get all that right, and they could actually if they could actually break all that down to you and give all the info to you, then yeah, they do have 100% truth because the Most High could put a spirit upon all of his
Hey,
prophets to teach
hey,
100% truth.
Judah,
Because you know
did
that's the most.
just hear me out real quick. Did 144,000 that are redeemed from the earth, do they have 100% truth?
Yeah, they got to have the 100% truth. Hundred
Okay,
percent
so here's, let me walk you down real quick. Do you know how many members are in GMS around the world? It's under 3,000 people. So
correct.
let's just give a hypothetical, which, by the way, Apostle Gabar said there are a lot of niggas in GMS. So even if we subtracted, say, two to like 500 that are like the wheat and the tares that are mixed in the group by the apostle's own claim. But let's just round it up for sake of argument. Let's just say all 3,000 are of the elect. Hey, it's God's choice, so he chooses who he don't choose. I can't say. But I want to point this out. So who are the other 141,000 besides GMS who are the elect? So who else is walking around that you would say has the 100% truth besides GMS? Because that group only has 3,000 members around the world, but the elect are 144,000. So where are these other 141,000 elect at? And do they not have the full truth? Well, what do you got to say?
I don't know about that. It's something I never thought about too deep into.
Well, I mean, wouldn't that indicate that there's people who are not in GMS that would be part of the elect?
Uh, Yeah,
Okay, so but I thought your statement was only GMS has 100% truth though, out of all these
yeah,
groups
they
and
do
camps.
because well, yeah, because the Most High will send the prophets on the street, and the Most High is powerful. So you don't think He'll give them 100% truth? He gave His prophets 100% truth in the scriptures. He
Did Christ
instructed His
give the?
prophets.
Let me ask you a question. When Christ was walking the earth with the apostles, did Christ give the apostles 100% truth, or were they confused at times with his parables and
Yeah, they were
explanations to them?
confused,
Okay,
but
so
the
did Christ give
100%
that?
truth
So did
was
Christ give
to
them 100% truth or no?
you said what?
So did Christ give the apostles a 100% truth when they walked with him, or did they often find themselves confused with some of his parables and breakdowns?
No, they were confusing on His parables and breakdowns, but I mean I mean, yeah, they were confused on His parables and breakdowns, but the 100% truth. If you don't know what the 100% truth is, the 100% truth is that that you should come unto the Lord and repent or perish. That's 100% truth. And how can you repent? Do the works of the Lord. Go out to the highways and byways. Upload videos on the internet. Teach the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and uh, and just
Well,
pray unto the Lord's
well,
name. That's it.
what about the Christians that are going around and teaching on the street and teaching to keep God's law? Are they saying the 100% truth?
No, because the Christian says it's okay to eat pork.
But not all of them do, though. I mean, a lot of them do, but not all of them.
But Christians, yeah, but Christians is a goyim religion. They're goyim.
What do you mean by that? Explain.
You know what a goy is?
Yeah. Well, explain for the audience, though.
A goy is an unclean individual. So a goy is a non-Israelite, and we think of non-Israelites as dirty, dirty goy. Even Israelites, like two-third Israelites that won't repent and come on to their Lord, we think of them as we think of them as goy too. They're spiritual goy. They mean nothing to us.
Okay. Well, do you know what the word Christian means?
Yeah, Christian. Yeah, but we don't call him Christ. His name is
Well, what?
Yahweh Shem Yahushai.
Well, do you know what the word Christ means?
No, you could
It means
explain that.
like it means Messiah, right? So, would it be true to call Yahushai Christ? Would that be fine? Because it means like Messiah is what basically what that means.
Messiah.
So, would you agree that that's okay to call the Son of God Christ?
You said his name. You said Christ mean Messiah.
Yeah, that's basically what Christ means.
In English translations, yeah.
Okay. So say for instance, like if you would agree if that it wouldn't be like wrong to refer to the Son of God as Christ, why would it be wrong for someone to call himself Christian? Like say for instance, like if
What
you
about
ask
the name
me
of Jesus? Because they said
again,
Jesus means
the
earth pig.
word well, pay attention, man. The word Christ means the Messiah, right? So by Christian, that means you're Christ-like, right? So if they see you as a Christian, they're supposed to see Christ through you, right? The way you live your life is supposed to reflect how Christ walked. So when people call themselves Christian, what it really means is they're being Christ-like. So really, it's nothing wrong with somebody calling himself a Christian. Because here's the truth, and even Dahar said this. Again, the guy that supposedly has the entire truth from your statement. Even Dahar said in one of his street discussions, he said, "We are Christians. Yeah, we are Christians. We're the real Christians." So even GMS teach that we're Christians. Sure, we're Israelites, true, but we are followers of the Christ, right? We teach Christ. We are Christ-like. So we really are Christians. Well, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've heard them say that, but some Israelites will say they're not Christians, even though being Christ-like
Well, I mean, those guys just
is
don't know
Christ.
what words. Those guys just don't know what words mean. Any Israelite that says, "Oh, I'm not a Christian," it's like we got to ask them, "Well, do you
Right.
even know what that means? Like, what does it mean to
Well, when we
be
say
Christian?"
Christians, we're talking about the fake Christians, like the mainstream Christianity. You know, that's the only Christianity I have a problem with is the mainstream Christianity. Eternal hell, Perry the Green. I mean Perry the preacher. Christians like that, I don't like. They're goy.
Right, I can agree with you on that. Those guys definitely, don't know what's going on. I can agree with you on that. Well, let's sideways into this. We passed the 2000 discussion, and again, I want to clarify. I don't mean any hate or disrespect towards GMS. As I said, I do respect Great Millstone. I believe they are men of the Lord. But with that being said, there are a few inconsistencies with what they say, and I've noticed that throughout the years. So again, I don't mean any hate or disrespect, but we have to call out certain mistakes we see, right? And anybody that doesn't want to do that when they see teachers they look up to say something false, that person is a gullible pushover. That's not a smart person to not call out or to try to correct corruption. So let's sideways into this. So I seen you mention in your live stream about Romans 13, right? Since you're with GMS, 100% truth, whatever, your guy's position is that's talking about the government. So let's
Correct.
clarify: is that the government of only America, or is that the government of all
So
197 countries in the world? What
so
government's that talking about from your
so when it
perspective?
says what's Romans 13 is saying, okay, so since we're in captivity, we obey the laws of the land. So that means, if you see if you see a fruit pebble, you don't delete him, or if you or you don't take young wives, we're not in the land of Israel, so we can't do that. So we have to obey the laws of the land to keep a low head, a low profile, since we're in these times. We got to move in wisdom and be wise like serpents. Um, so we only obey the laws that evolve around the government. I mean, we only obey the laws that evolve around the commandments. Sorry, like thou shalt not kill. You shouldn't murder. Thou shalt not steal. Um, thou shalt not lie. But however, if the government, because we're not gonna rebel. We can't rebel against the government now. We're not on call to do that now. However, when the government does make the mark of the beast, that's when we rebel. You don't take the chip. So it's
Okay,
like kind of a
so
common
so
sense
so so
thing.
real quick. So do you know what book, chapter, and verse you're referring to when you make your
Romans
statement?
13, yeah.
Yeah, but what verse in there? Because here's your dilemma while you're typing that away. Here's your dilemma, right? Like if you jump to verse 4, again, the he here in verse 4 is the same uh person or deity it's talking about from the top verse, right? So in verse 4 it says, "For he is the minister of God to you for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he bears not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of God to revenge, uh, execute wrath upon him that does evil." So, real quick, so from your position, right, in GMS position, you're saying that the minister of God, which represents the U.S. government or government of
The
any
minister of
nation.
God
But
is a
let's
tool.
just well, hold on. Let me land my plane of what I'm saying here. So let's
Sorry.
just for keep it simple. Let's just talk about the U.S. government. We'll avoid the other 196 other nations just for the sake of argument. So by what you're saying that the minister of God to us for good is one who promotes man and man marriage. That in some of his states you can lay with animals, that promotes women's liberation, that allows women to get abortions, which, by the way, the Bible condemns and forbids these practices. But according to, oh, and by the way, these are the same people who want to depopulate the whole world and get everybody jabbed up with these mystery juices over the last couple years. We can keep going on and on and on. So these wicked people, what is that? Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So, from your perspective and GMS perspective, this great minister of God for good is promoting all this evil and wickedness. So, I want you to explain to me directly why you believe the minister of God for good is going around promoting men to lay with other men, going around telling women that it's okay to get abortions, telling women you can go lay with other women, putting women over men,
Yes.
right? Giving them power and liberty. So, explain to me how that's the minister of God to us for good, because I
Yeah, it
find
is a
that to
minister of
be a
God, but it's a
dumb
minister on
statement.
the left hand side, because a minister means tool. If you look it up, it means minister means tool. I can use a tool for good or evil. So, given the fact that the
Wait,
Lord has
wait,
a
hold
left and
up a
right hand
second.
side,
Let me
you're
test what you're
interrupting.
saying. You said the minister is like a tool. So the
Yes.
screwdriver on your desk, is that a minister?
Yeah.
Okay. And what dictionary are you getting that from, by the way? Some like 1800s English dictionary, right? So like thousands of years after the Bible. But while you're typing that away, think about how ridiculous that is, man. So you're saying that the minister of God for good is promoting evil and wickedness upon the people.
Well, yeah,
You know
yeah, but yeah,
that's
the
dumb right
Romans
there to
13 is
believe,
saying
man.
obey the civil laws since you're in captivity.
But
But if those
I'm
civil
asking you
laws,
what verse says that though, because I'm calling you. Well, I really can call you a liar here. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I don't see what you are saying in the text. Like, can you name a verse in particular that you're referring to? Because unlike you, I can go to book, chapter, and verse and show how you are wrong with your understanding. And to clarify for the audience, what minister is this talking about? Is it talking about the government? Is it talking about some other thing? Well, in context, this is talking about like the minister over your church or congregation. So let's say that if you're in Genesis, hey, you gotta obey what Deacon Hakah says. You know, if you're in the ISUPK, you got to listen to Tazariak and his higher ups what they tell you to do. If they tell you to go study this certain chapter, you better go do it. They tell you to show up for this event in the next month or two, you better do what they say because that's the minister over you. If you are under Tahar and GMS, hey, you got to listen to what he says. If he orders 4 videos a week from you, then you better do 4 videos a week because that's the minister that's over you. So this is not talking about governments that are promoting and doing evil around the world. That's obviously not what this is talking about here.
okay, let me read the
Mike,
verse for you. I
cheers.
could break it down if you listen.
Yes, sir.
Romans 13. Let every soul be subjected to the higher powers, for there is no power but God, but the powers that be are ordained of God. So this current government was actually set up by the Most High on the left hand side to bring forth the prophecies on the left hand side. So you could say Illuminati, bankers, Zog machine, or whatever. It's the Most High controlling this. He's the main guy in charge. Okay, so whosoever resists the power resists the ordinance of God. So we're not. Right now we can't fight against the government or we're gonna uprise against the Zog machine. No, the Zog machine is put there by God to bring forth these prophecies and punish the children of Israel and etc. Do all this wicked shit upon the earth to play the role as Babylon, because everybody has a role to play, whether it be the evil or good. So Babylon's role is to be this evil king, this evil powerful kingdom that needs to be thrown down. So we can't fight back against, we can't uprise against a system or try to do all this malicious shit like the other camps do, because that'll be going against the Most High's will.
What
And they that
malicious stuff the
resist
other
shall
camps are
receive
doing?
themselves damnation. For the rulers are not a terror unto good works, but to do the evil. Will thou them will thou then not be afraid of the power? So we're not afraid of the government, but we do understand that the Most High put these kings and queens in charge, either bring forth prophecy, or to punish people, which He does all that.
Let me pause you right there though. Let's look at verse 3. It says, and remember you on your recent live streams you're on there talking about Trump, which is the current king of Babylon today, and all the evil and wickedness he's pushing upon the earth, and endless wars and misery upon the people of the earth. It says in verse 3, for rulers are not a terror to good works but to the evil. So how would you say that's talking about Mr. Trump if you're on there talking about all the evil and
You
wickedness
didn't
he's
let me
bringing
finish the
upon the
whole.
world
I
and
was
the
gonna read
nation?
from 1 to 4. You didn't let me finish the whole thing.
Well, I mean, you paused, so I figured I'd get a chance to
Oh
chime
yeah,
in,
my
right?
bad. Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse it there. Sorry. So So for he is the minister of God for thee good, but if thou do not do which is evil, so for he is a minister of God to thee for good, but if thou do that which is evil, so this minister is, whether this minister be good or bad, is set up by the Most High. If this
So
minister
wait,
does
wait, but
evil,
Mr.
that's when
Judah,
we
let me.
rebel,
Can you
and
say
that's when
that
the
with a
mark of the
straight
beast on us.
face, though? So the minister of God said that it's okay for another man to, lay with another man. That's what the minister of good is saying.
He's on the left hand side, so he's here to deceive the 2/3. So yes. But if you're one of the elect, you'd be stupid not to fall for it. So therefore, he didn't send them after you. He sent them after the two dumbass 2/3 to follow, so they could be destroyed.
Man, I just find it weird how you could sit there on one stream and criticize Trump as Nero, as you called him, which is what the horse said, and how he is evil, corrupt, doing all these things. Oh, Epstein, Epstein, all that stuff. But on the other hand, oh, well, he's a minister for good. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Does that not seem like
I
hypocrisy?
didn't say for good. I said he's on a. Well, yeah. What he's doing is good for
Well,
us,
well,
like
well,
bringing
sir. The,
forth
the
these
text says
wars.
that he's a minister to thee for good. So, according to what you're saying, that means he's doing good to us. Well, what good
I
is
didn't say that.
Mr. Trump doing for?
I just say he plays on the left hand side, and the Most High could set up evil ministers and good ministers. However,
But
it's
I'm
good
saying,
for us because he's bringing forth the prophecies. He's closing straight of Hammuz. He's continuing to fucking up the country. Yeah, we cheer Nero on. We hope Nero continues to fuck up Babylon. So yeah, he's doing good for us, but not the 2/3, because that's gonna mean the destruction for 2/3, because they're gonna go along with Babylon. So the minister could be good or evil. They just set up to play in the Most High's. Everybody has a role to play, whether they be good or evil. That, that's my point. Does that explain it, or do you need me to further explain it?
I mean, I think you're definitely deceived with that. But for the sake of argument, I guess we can move on.
The Most High don't set up good and evil kings to punish people across the world. Then
Now, I
then
didn't.
then this is where I disagree with you too, because you'll say Babylon is evil for doing a lot of stuff to people across the world. Which people were
Yeah.
referring to? Israelites or heathen? Because let's say, for instance, when they did that to those people over there in Hiroshima, or those people over there in Gaza, those are Gentiles. We don't care about those people in Gaza. All those
Wait,
children,
hold on. Let
innocent
me let
children,
me
those are heathen.
excuse me, sir. Stop there for a second. So, address your question. You asked me, well, we don't care. It's other people. Well, I'll respond and say, well, they're doing evil against both Israelites and people abroad. Like, say, for instance, even from your perspective, like, let's say if they attack some foreign country that where Israelites are not at, right? Well, that's still murder right there, which the God of the Bible condemns.
Yeah,
So murder that's a capital offense for any nation, any person of any nation or walk of life, not just for Israelites. So I'm not sure what you're referring to there. Let me ask you a question. Does God have laws that other nations besides Israel have to follow?
um, well, yeah. If he's gonna set up a kingdom and the nation's gonna have to serve us, yeah, they have
Can
to
the other
follow.
nations sin?
Yeah,
Okay, so you agree there's laws that God gave for that are universal?
no, they're not universal, but I'm saying they will be forced to. They'll be forced to follow them when the Most High comes back. But sorry, I'm getting confused. But stick with the question. Wait, what question you asked? Sorry, my brain's a little fried and just feeling
Okay,
sleepy.
I mean we can see that, but anyway,
And see, you don't have to. See, you're passively aggressively
but
talking
you
shit about me.
but excuse me, sir, but you weren't on your stream by calling me like a bunch of names and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like come
I
on,
didn't call
dog,
you
don't
names.
play like that. I saw your live stream. You're on there calling me dumb or stupid.
I didn't call you.
So you know
I
what
didn't
I'm
call you
saying, man?
dumb and
Like,
stupid.
well, let's not act like a little kid. If it offends you that much, then I'll refrain from doing it just for the sake of conversation. But let's not pretend
Oh
that you
no, I don't
weren't
get
treating
offended
me the
that
same
easily.
way, man, because you
I just
were. I
found it
saw your
funny.
stream. Okay, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah. No, no,
Well,
you good.
let's address this, which correlates what I just brought up here. So I saw in your stream you were talking about like let's just say for hypothetical example, like in America it's illegal to have more than one wife. Let's say there's a guy that goes out and gets two or three women, Is he in sin? Because the law of the land says that he can't have more than one wife. The government
No,
said it's one man, one woman, but God's word says that it is morally acceptable. Answer that, and
no,
I'll
he's
address why
so,
I'm bringing this up.
no, he's not in sin. But however, it'll be wise for him to wait till we get in the kingdom because we're not in the kingdom yet. We're still in Esau's kingdom, so that's why we gotta move wise like serpents. Some stuff we can do and some stuff we couldn't do. So we only fit the laws that
Well, in your
that
live stream, sir, you said that basically your excuse for one of the examples I brought up about like an older guy and a younger girl or something like that, and you were
yeah.
saying, well, yeah, in the land of Israel, it wouldn't be a big deal, but we're not in Israel today, so certain of these laws, don't apply to us because we're not living in Israel today. Well, respond to that, and then I want to elaborate a little bit further on, but I want the audience to hear what you have
Well,
to
yeah.
say
So
to
yeah,
that
we're in
first.
captivity, right? So So I understand if you find young women attractive, but why would you like go for like a young woman in her in her prime days, when you know they're gonna bring the age of consent around, and say, oh, age of consent, yeah, sure, you might find her attractive, but I mean, you don't go and act on it. I mean, we're in Babylon for fuck's sake, we
I mean, just for the record, I didn't say to go do it, but I want to point out that the word
yeah,
of
that's what I'm
God.
saying. We're not
Wait,
saying to
hold,
go do it, but
just
we're
hear me
pointing
out for a
out.
second. But what I'm criticizing you on and GMS is the word of God says that, and Christ said that not one jot or one tittle will pass from the law until all things are fulfilled. So nothing in God's law today, regardless of what subject matter it is, nothing from the law has passed away. So, like, let's just say, for example, if a man in Babylon here in America or in the Middle East or in Brazil gets free wives. Well, guess what? In those countries, he can't do that. Well, maybe in the Middle East he can, but over here in the West, they say you can't do that. So, are you going to condemn him for having two or three wives? Because the law of the land that
No,
you believe in says he can't, but the word of God says he can.
no, I won't condemn him, but however, we are in. You have to be aware that we are in Babylon, so therefore, some certain stuff you can do, and some stuff you can do, because we can't just walk around like we're in Israel. We're in captivity. But however, if you do want to take on three wives, what I would do, don't get a marriage license. You just have them. You just have the three women living with you. You could do that.
Well, what about, like, let's just say, for an example, that a guy in his mid 20s wants to get with a 16-year-old? Would you condemn that? Because your Bible says that that's immoral, but the
No, I wouldn't.
government says you
I
can't.
wouldn't condemn it, but I wouldn't condemn it. I wouldn't condemn it because it is biblical. But you do have to be aware that we're in Babylon and we can't do that due to the cat being in captivity. But however, there. The state does have age of consent. So
Well, let me ask you, so why don't you hold the same morals on about having more than one wife then? Why don't you just say we can't do that because we're in Babylon? But all of a sudden you just change the story up and say, well, maybe do it like under the curtains or something, right? Or behind the scenes, not like in public.
no,
So it's
no,
just like you
don't get a
guys
marriage
change the
license.
story on certain subjects, it seems.
Yeah, yeah. Just don't.
Are you able to keep up with what I'm saying or what's going on?
No, no. I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I should have worded it different. Yeah. What I was gonna say. No, I said we will be wise as serpents. We should be weary and be careful for what we do in this place, so we're not in the land of Israel. That's why I say don't get the marriage contract. Just be with the three women. Just have them living in your house. But I got a question. What if these three women betray you? Because women are corrupt nowadays. So what if these three women betray you, and now you're stuck paying child support? So you got to think about that too, because
Right, right.
back in the land
Of
of
course,
Israel,
that's
if they
why.
leave,
Well, once again, my friend, I think you're jumping the gun here because obviously, I teach that before you get multiple wives, you should be able to financially support them. So obviously,
yeah,
there is some wisdom involved. But I'm questioning you here. So real quick, I seen there was something you said in the video, something about this guy like Pastor Joel or something, and
Dowell.
about like what was it with his wife or something? Could you just
Yeah,
elaborate with
Pastor
that?
Dow committed adultery. Pastor Dow committed adultery with other men's wives.
Okay. Well, here's my question for you, though. Going by your logic that we're not in Israel today, Why should you care about that? Because that's not against the law of the land to lay with another man's wife. If she consents to it, that's moral and acceptable here. So shouldn't you be with that then, since by
No,
your logic we're
no.
not in the land of
I said we
Israel? So
can't
why
get
should it matter?
so if you find a guy just sticking heavy meat inside your wife and she just moaning with her head tilted back and you just hear the bed rocking
Yo,
and
just a heads up, watch your tone on here, my friend. Keep
oh
it
sorry,
PG
yeah,
if
I
you
get
can.
carried away when it comes to sexual conversations, but yeah, so if you find that happening, you can't just go could you can't delete the guy, but because that's not in the laws of the land. But however, if you do decide to do it, it's not breaking the Most High's commandments. But we live in the land of Esau, so we can't certain shit we can do we can do. So we got to follow the laws that align with the scriptures, and if it don't align with the scriptures, don't follow the law. You know, like the mark of the beast,
Uh,
for an example.
well, let me give you an example of a law of the land that doesn't align with the Bible. The Bible doesn't teach that there's a age of consent that male or female has to be before they marry. So wouldn't you agree that that's a law of the land that violates the scriptures?
Yeah. So that's why I said I didn't make it. It's not a big deal. You know, some states have an age of consent.
Well, actually, just to correct you, all of them do. And matter of fact, let me give you a little education. Around the world, in 197 countries with over 1,000 different provinces or states, there are like over 1,000 different age of consent laws. But here's the catch: they all range from as low as 11 to as high as 21, right? So it just proves that it's just a arbitrary thing that somebody just came up with on a whim one day. So would you agree that that's against the scriptures in nature? So is that a law of the land that is against the Bible? And again, before people get all emotional, I didn't say to go do nothing, but I'm just holding you to what you're saying because that's a law of the land that does go against the Bible.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah, what?
Uh, well, I mean, yeah, that does go against the Bible, but however, I mean, I mean, if you find, if you like find a young broad that you find attractive, it's just good not to act on it because you're not in the land of Israel. So I mean,
Well, let me
it ain't
ask you
worth it.
this though: that you keep making a statement about land of Israel, land of Israel. Can you
Yeah.
explain for the audience what you mean by that? Like, why do you keep harping upon that? That if you're in the land of Israel, such and such laws you can do. But like, let's say if you're like 1,000 miles away, in like a regional nation around there, but not in Israel, that like now don't apply to you or something like that. Could you clarify what you mean by not being in Israel for the audience?
Uh, so what I'm basically saying is, what I'm basically getting at here is, I typed this into ChatGPT because they can explain it better than I do because I can't explain it. So, according to Greatmillstone teaches, Romans 13 is generally interpreted as follows: Believers shall obey the governing authorities in matters that do not require them to break God's laws, like thou shalt not murder. What are you doing, killing somebody? Thou shalt not lie. You shouldn't steal, cheat, scam people. Governments are viewed as being allowed by God to rule over a period of time. So, see what I'm this one I've been getting at. And the Most High sets up kings and queens. Like America was set, Babylon was set up by the Most High to rule temporarily because Esau should be the end and Jacob should be the beginning, right? So, however, if a government commands something contrarily to God's commandments, like the mark of the beast, that's when we say no. If the government says you must eat pork, or a ruler or king, that's when we say no. If a ruler, like for instance, the people try to force the Israelites to eat pork, the Romans, so they would kill the Israelites if they said no. So we live and die by these commandments, like we would during the mark of the beast. However, if the, and GMS teaches that God's law come first, so of course because we can't certain stuff we can't do because we'll get in trouble because we're in captivity. So the Most High will understand. So therefore, we keep these we keep these what do you call we keep the civil law, but if that civil law interrupts with the Most High's laws, like His commandments, that's when we say no, and that's why we're gonna rebel when the mark of the beast comes. We'd rather choose. We'd rather die than take the mark.
But there's not a rebel when they say you can't have two wives though.
I just clearly told you you don't have
Or
to.
let me give you, because that's not good enough for you. Let me give you a bonus example. But you wouldn't rebel when the government says that your 7-year-old can undergo a gender change surgery or dress up as a girl, and if you don't allow him that, that could be viewed as abuse,
Well,
according
yeah.
to the government.
Well, yeah.
Which
I'm
again,
gonna refuse to
by
do it.
your statement,
Yeah,
is the minister of God.
I
Again, I'm
keep
going to hold
telling
you
you
on
that
that.
we. Okay. I keep telling you that if we obey the civil law because we're under oppression, but if that civil law breaks the Most High's commandments, like if they told your boy, he's free to chop his dick off and become the next Finster, of course I will go to jail and be persecuted by telling my son no, because that's breaking the Most High's commandments. I can't tell my own son, yeah, it's okay to cross dress and as a tranny and
Right,
cut your
right,
cock off.
but Mr. Judah though, but I want you to see the lunacy here though, because remember, the same one telling your son that's the minister of God to us for good, from
Well, yeah,
your
he's a minister of
understand.
the left hand. He's a minister of the left hand side because a minister means tool, so he can be good or bad.
So is what he's telling your son, is that a minister of good or evil?
Evil, because he's on the left hand side. So
But
since we're
Romans
under the civil
13
law
says that.
of the
Wait, but
land being
hold up a
oppressed,
second. But Romans 13 says he's not a minister of evil though.
yeah, the Most High's kingdom is not evil.
Okay.
We're not in the Most High's
All
kingdom.
right. Well, real quick, do you agree with what Christ said? This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I come not to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and the earth pass, one jot or one tittle will in no wise pass from the law, until all things be fulfilled. Therefore, whosoever shall break one of the least commandments and shall teach men to do so, he should be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do them and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. You agree with the text?
What you say again? Sorry, I was doing something on my Cash App.
With your cash app, bro, why are you doing that when we're having a theological conversation?
Somebody sent me a notification. I'm sorry,
Okay,
bro.
well,
My bad.
in simple terms, Christ said in Matthew 5:17 to 19, that he didn't do away with anything from the law. Not one jot or
Yeah.
one tittle will pass from the law until all things be fulfilled. So what thing passed from God's law today?
So right now the government that we under we so we so when the mark of the beast comes, we'll be under a communist system, but we're not under a communist system. Right now, we still have freedom of speech, so therefore the government can't tell us we can't eat pork. We gotta take a microchip. We're still able to exercise religious freedoms. But however,
But hold up, but sorry, I thought that on your
you're
live
not letting
stream
me
you talked
explain.
about that I am gonna bear with me here for a second. Oh, now you're saying we're liberated and free, but on your live streams you talk about how you're being oppressed and you're in slavery. So make up
Yeah.
your mind. What one is it?
No, no, I'm saying
Oh, and by the
we
way,
have a little
GMS
freedom
say,
to move
wait,
our
wait,
legs
hold up, real
around. That's
quick. Real quick, Mr. Judah. Even GMS say the same thing. Like, I'll give an example. I was watching one guy in GMS. He was saying, "Yeah, these are the good old days. Right now we're at liberty." And then the next guy's like, "Oh, well, we're in captivity. We're in slavery today." It's like, dummies, make up your mind. Like, what are you talking about?
no, no,
Are
no.
we
So what he's
liberated
basically
and
saying
free, or
is
are we in servitude today? Like, what are you talking about?
he he's talking about the worldly people. Yeah, it may
How
look
are you
like
going to tell
liberty
me
to
what
now
he's
compared to
talking
what's going to
about if
happen in
you
the
haven't
future.
seen the video?
Yeah, you got to send me the video.
Matter of fact, Mr. Judah, you said in your live stream, like when I mentioned to Har, seen my videos and spoke, about me, this or that, and you said, well, what he really meant was this and this. I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, like, wait, what, bro? You weren't even around. You were in middle school when that thing happened, like 6, 7 years ago. So how are you going to tell me that and you can break
I was
down what the
homeschooled.
Har meant by his statement to me? If you didn't even see the video, you know why? Because his YouTube channel didn't exist today. It got deleted a couple years back that the video was on before you were even in the truth. So how can you tell me that you know what the Har meant when he mentioned me in his video if you never seen it yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, would you agree with me that sounds loony?
I will want to know why he's called this liberty.
So does he have 99% truth then? Does he have 1% less than 100%? The guy that said that?
Um,
I mean, if you don't know, we can move on, man. It's fine.
um,
Oh, well, let me hold you on this. So, do you know? Because again, you kept talking about the land of Israel, right? You know, we couldn't do these things because we're not in the land of Israel. Well, there's an elephant in the room here, though, because I don't know if you know this or not, but when God gave Moses the law in Exodus the 20th chapter, they were not even in Israel. So God gave Moses the law when before they even were in the land of Israel. Did you know that?
yeah.
Okay, then. So what is this whole thing about land of Israel? We got to be in the land of Israel to follow these laws.
No, it's talking
But
about
yet,
the
when God
kingdom
gave,
because
just let me finish real quick for the audience. But when God gave Moses the law in Exodus, the 20th chapter, he gave him the Ten Commandments. Then, when he went down off the mountain, he got more guidelines when he was 40 years in the wilderness with the Israelites, right? Which, if you didn't know, that actually took place in Saudi Arabia, right? Mount Sinai is located in Saudi Arabia. It tells you that in Galatians, the fourth chapter, just to correct you and everybody else who didn't know that. So, I just want to point out the fact that God gave Israel the law when they were traveling through Saudi Arabia. So they were not even in the land of Israel when they received the law. So what was this whole thing about God to be in the land of Israel to follow the laws? But God didn't even give Israel the laws when they were in the land of Israel. What's your faults?
uh, I mean, I guess I'll say. I guess I'll say that's a great point.
Oh, but that's another catch though, because did you know that GMS don't teach that it was in Saudi Arabia, at least according to my understanding for listening to them. I believe they say that the Red Sea crossing happened at I believe it's the Gulf of Aqaba or something like that. I believe it is. Someone can Google search that. But anyone who's done the research, the evidence actually supports that the Red Sea crossing actually happened at the Nuweiba Beach. They crossed over the Nuweiba Beach, right, on the dry land through the sea into Saudi Arabia, right? They've done scuba diving there off the Nuweiba Beach. You can find the skeletal remains of horses and men and chariots that were destroyed in the sea. So that's another thing that they're going off on. So what's your thoughts on that?
Uh, y- so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I only know like what GMS teaches, but like certain stuff that they say, I gotta look into it because I haven't. Because like I said, I've been at GMS for like a year. I've been watching GMS for like a few years, but this is like my first year in like getting into the doctrine.
Okay, so they still have 100% truth then.
Uh, Regarding the prophecy, yes.
And real quick, here's a verse in Galatians I quoted for you. This is Galatians chapter 4 and verse 25. It says, "For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia." Well, what's your thoughts on that? Let me read that again. It says, "For this Agar is Mount Sinai in Arabia." So that would be modern day Saudi Arabia. Anybody can just go on YouTube and do a quick Google search for Mount Sinai, Saudi Arabia. You'll find thousands of videos that document this and show evidence of this. So that's something that GMS doesn't know about. So I'm just saying, again, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm just pointing out the fact here is how can you say that GMS has 100% truth when I'm pointing out a dozen flaws of what they're saying here? Though it just seems like a willful ignorance. And again, I've listened to them and watched their videos for over 10 years. Hell, I've been watching back since the ITR, Israelites Tried and Refined, used to be the GMS Chicago camp, if anybody knows what I'm referring to. But seriously, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Um, yeah.
mean, you got anything to say, or you confounded, or what's going on?
Now, kind of like shocked because I didn't really know all this about GMS, but I mean,
But what I'm saying though, man, is after you know that, after I shared this knowledge with you, how could you still say that honestly that they have 100% truth if you see all these errors and flaws? And again, I'm not saying that they're not men of the Lord, not saying to not watch them. I agree they are men of the Lord and that they're given a lot of great information, but you got to take them with a grain of salt, just like a lot of these other groups out here, like the ICPK. Some things they say is actually decent and true, but then there's a lot of things they teach which are not true and should be discarded and not believed. Same thing with those Sakari guys. Some things they said is true, some things are not true. Hell, the Christian pastor down the street, I'm sure there's a couple topics we could agree on. Doesn't mean he's right on everything he believes, obviously. So what do you got to say?
uh, when they get the 100% truth, I would say regarding the prophecy, but certain stuff I'll say no. They probably get 98% of the truth. I,
Oh, and by the way, man, I noticed in your live stream you responded to a video I did back in like early 2019. Why did you pick that video to respond to
well,
if I
cause yeah, he was
literally
talking
did
about the flat
like
Earth. That's
but
because he was
hold
talking.
on, just hear me out 1 second. I did like multiple videos talking about GMS, again, respectfully, within the last, say 3, 4 years. Why didn't you pick one of those recent ones? You'd pick like some out of date one that you don't even know the context about back in 2019.
Oh yeah,
So
because he was
like,
talking about the. Because he was talking about the flat Earth. That.
which we'll get into that, but the point is, it's like, I mean, you could have watched if you're going to criticize me about GMS and saying they didn't have 100% truth, when you want to see one of the more recent reasons why I say that, like within the last say 2 or 3 years,
Uh, yeah, but well, yeah, but that video caught my attention because you was talking about the flat Earth in that video.
right?
Yeah, so I just decided to do a reaction to that video because remember you wanted me to do a response about the flat Earth. So then I did want to do a response to the flat Earth because that's the only video I know that you talk about the flat Earth that I know of. So then you spoke other stuff about GMS that I also wanted to cover in that video too. That's why.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so I guess we can get on to that then for a little bit of time we have here. So with the whole flat earth thing, what would be your pushback against it for the audience that's like hearing you for the first time on the subject? Like if you could like give a brief summary within like say 2 or 3 minutes, what would you say? Like how would you debunk the idea and prove it to be false? Well, what do you got to say?
Yeah, so like if you're like for instance, if you were like in an enclosed dome, right, with water, eventually the dome itself will get so moist, especially with a light bulb floating across it, that it'll rain everywhere because it'll be super moist. So that means everywhere will be tropical. Because how would it be? Then I got a question. How would the sky look different? Why would you see the gorillas in Wisconsin and other northern places, but then you go down south, you don't see that. But it's a flat plane, so therefore you should be able to see that. Like why does the why does you see star? Why would you see stars on one end, but you don't see stars on another? So that's why I think that the Earth isn't flat.
Well, let's not just so we
You can
don't
see the
confuse
curvature too.
everybody. Okay, well, let's not confuse everybody. So let's just pick one point at a time. So one of the most ones that I find curious that you mentioned is the curvature. Let's talk about that first. I remember you did a video and you mentioned, oh, well, I could walk outside my house and see the curvature, or, go to the top of a roof and see the curvature. I was like, well, what does he mean by that? Because even world famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said when he was doing a commentary on that Felix Bob Gardner Red Bull space jump back in like 2012, he was saying Look, at that height, you can't see the Earth's curvature. You can't see any curvature from 127,000 feet above the Earth. So, what do you got to say about that? Again, world respected astrophysicist, that's his claim that you can't even see the Earth's curvature from the height that the Red Bull space jump was. In fact, he called it like quote unquote space jump because he wasn't actually in space. That's his words, not mine. What's your faults?
Y- well, when you see the sun, it rises. Then
Hey
when it
Judah,
goes
hey
back
Judah,
down,
can you pay attention real quick?
you're
The
talking about the
topic
curvature.
the topic is the curvature right now, not about the sun and the moon.
Yeah, that's the curvature. So when you see the sun rise, it rises up, but then when it goes down, it looks like it's going down, but that's the curvature you can see.
Okay, well let's test what you're saying. So like would a good example be for your argument, like if I go to the beach, which I was at like say 2 years ago, I watched the sunset over the water. That's the curvature of the earth from your perspective, you'd
Yes,
say,
because
right?
why is it going down?
Okay, well hold on real quick. I want to point out if I watch, there's some buildings in the world where you can actually test this, like the Burj Khalifa. You could be on the ground, watch the sunset, then you can quickly travel to the top of the Burj Khalifa, and now you can see the sunset a second time. Well, what's your thoughts there? What do you think's going on there? Did it come back up over the curve for them, or
Yeah, yeah, that's so you're on a high altitude, so therefore you could you could see you could see like you're on a high altitude, so the curvature will the sun going down will appear it'll be a little slower on the curvature. You're like on a high altitude, so you can see more.
okay? And I also assume that you'd argue this is why ships disappear over the horizon too, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, did you ever try any experiment where you go to the beach and zoom in with like what is this, a P
Yeah, I
nine
know about
hundred
it.
camera, and you
You can
can bring
see
the ships back into your view?
from Michigan. You can see Chicago skylines from Michigan. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So shouldn't that be hidden behind the curvature?
I mean, those are tall skyscrapers we're talking about.
Okay, well, what about the ships that you said were going over the curvature? Like seriously, there's videos we have from the last 10 years where they see the boat disappear over the curve, give it a minute or two to go a distance, then we can literally zoom back where there's nothing in our sight, and then we can, just like magic, the ship pops back into view full again as you zoom in on it. So like, what's going on there? Because if you look out over the sea, you can't see the ship with your eye, but if you use the camera to zoom in on it, now it's back in sight again. So if that's really the curve of the Earth that's taking it away from our view, why is the camera able to zoom back in on it when it's like, 10 or 15 miles offshore?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah, it is a good question, but I'm asking you, right? I'm asking you the question because you're the one making the curvature claim.
Um. Well, I mean, this.
Well, let's make it a little easier then if that's too hard. You said in your video that you can see the curvature when you walk outside. What
Yeah.
did you mean by that? Like literally outside your
So the
door, or
clouds.
what do you mean?
So the clouds above, like when you look straight ahead, the clouds look like they're going down.
I mean, if you look at like say for instance, I don't know if you've been to some of these long hotels. If you look down the hallway, some of these long hotels, you can literally see the ceiling looks like it meets the floor in the distance. Now, obviously, that's not really happening in real life. That's just the way your eye renders what you're seeing, right? If you watch over the distance, it converges. Just like if you watch somebody walk down you watch somebody walk down the sidewalk, eventually they're going to get so far away from you that they're going to keep disappearing. The legs are going to disappear. Not that it actually is happening in real life to them, but that's because your perspective, they're getting too far out of your view. Now, as far as the clouds, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been in Florida, but those things are like so close you can like nearly reach out and touch them. They're so close. But I remember going to the beach, look out over the sea, And see the clouds, yeah, in the distance, they look like they reach the water. They meet the water in the distance.
Yeah, that's the
Obviously,
curvature.
that's just a way. No, no, that's not the curvature. That's stupid. That's the way our eyes see the world around us. And I've literally just gave you 4 examples of why. Now, if I am wrong, can you explain why that is?
Oh well, yeah, it looks like it's on the ground, but if you get closer, it's gonna go up because that's the curvature.
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
It looks like it's down, but when you get closer, it's gonna be at the same level because that's the curvature. That proves my point.
No, no, that doesn't prove your point. That proves my point that if you go the distance, it's now back up in the sky, not where it converged. That proves it's not the curvature, but that's the your eyesight. Like, I'm sorry, but your vision, you can't see forever. I mean, shit, some people can't even see half the room, across the room for Christ's sake, because their eyes are bad.
Right.
So your eyes, you can't see forever. Some people say, I even believe you made a statement in one of your videos and said, oh, at first flat, well, I should be able to like see everything. There shouldn't be any like, hell, I should be able to see Everest from my room. It's like, no, you can't because that it's so far from you. It's little, right? And there's obviously all these objects and haze in the air, fog, right? Rain, buildings. There's so many things in the way that you can't see these things that you claim you can. And then, of course, the fact your eyesight, you can't see forever. There's a point where your eyes, you can't see forever. Would you at least agree with me on that? Man, am I losing you or what's going on?
Oh, nothing. Sorry, I was checking something on the internet.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, do you got any like pushback to what I'm saying? Because the reason I'm asking you, man, because you were sitting up there bold on your videos and live stream saying, "Oh, you got to be dumb to believe in the flat Earth. You can't be smart to believe in flat Earth." It's like, well, here I am. I'm willing to have a discussion why we view differently, right, respectfully, and you're just like quiet. Don't really have nothing to say. Like, it just seems weird to me, man. You're up there on your video,
No, yeah.
speaking
So the reason,
boldly about it, but then here you don't have anything to say.
no, yeah, but see but yeah, but if you see yeah, but all you gotta do is look at the curvature. Like if you look at a chemtrail, it looks like it's going. It looks like it's You could even see the curvature through the chemtrails. Then if you was inside of a dome, you will suffocate too.
Oh man, Judah, this is really sad, man. This is your arguments that you have. I honestly think
Dude, it's
here's what
literally
I
common sense.
wait.
If I
Hear
throw you
hear
in the
hear me
dome,
out
you're
for a
gonna
second. This
suffocate.
this is no, sir. No, you would not. Do you know that there is a couple trillion trees on Earth that create
Yes.
oxygen? Okay, so how would you suffocate if trees are constantly producing oxygen and there's trillions that exist on this Earth?
Okay, if the Earth was flat, then how's there different temperatures around the Earth?
Judah, it's very. Hey, Judah, let me say this, man. I honestly think that all you did was go on, like, what was the thing you used earlier? Chat GPT, and just look up Flat Earth Debunk or YouTube, Flat Earth Debunk, and you just
YouTube,
watch
yeah.
like 2 or 3 videos because you obviously have never heard any of the
There's
arguments for
Bible
why
verses I
people.
could prove
Hey,
too.
hey,
You
hey,
want me to bring
Judah,
those up?
just chill out for a second. We'll get to that in a second. But what I'm saying is, you seem like you have very little knowledge of the topic discussed. Again, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying, but it seems as if you're like not even sure what we're saying, right? Like it'd be like, well, why is the temperature not the same everywhere? Well, we've explained that. Well, what about the curvature here? We explained that. We explained all these things. I think you just were lazy and didn't want to look at the answer before you do a video judging it, speaking down upon it. That's what I'm thinking, man.
Lazy?
You
Wow.
see? Yeah, absolutely. Let me, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, man, but
No,
you got
that's
to
not was meant,
remember, I
sir.
have a lot of experience with what I do, with my conversations and my research. You've been into this for 1 year. I got 10 years under my belt. Not saying I got all the answers, but what I'm saying is your arguments and your statements are among some of the most weakest I've ever seen. And again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it just really is. You honestly have no idea what you're talking about. And we've addressed everything you're saying. You just haven't seen the answers we have for you because I don't believe you've looked. I don't believe you watched any videos that people have done, trying to prove their side of the argument. You just did a quick Google search to try to see what people are saying. This proves it, and you're running with that. Now, I'll be polite and allow you pick one of those that you want to speak about. One of the topics you brought up regarding the flat Earth, we talked about the curvature. We disagreed on that. You brought up chemtrails in the sky. It's like, okay, I've seen plenty of chemtrails. I don't see a curvature there. Hell, even if there was curvature with a chemtrail in the sky, hell, a rainbow has curvature to it. That doesn't mean that the Earth's curving. Like that's not logical to think like that. So I'll give you the mic. What subject regarding the flat Earth you want to speak about?
Yeah. So like I said, since the sun is hovering over the ocean, in a closed dome. So since we have heat in a closed dome, why isn't the whole world misty? You're in a closed dome, right?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Why isn't the whole why isn't the whole world misty? And and if the sun is that hot, shouldn't the whole Earth be hot as well if it's
Wait,
enclosed?
wait, hold up a second. You said the sun is that hot. What do you mean by that hot?
Well, the
How do
sun
you
is
know how?
well, the sun heats up the Earth, so it's a hot ball hovering over the Earth like that, right? So
Yeah, but but hold on, let me clarify. You made it sound like that you were given like an exact temperature that you got in a textbook is what I wanted to pinpoint you on. But you're not
nobody
saying that?
said that. I'm saying that if you, it's like having a light bulb and then a closed dome with water, and if you do that, you would create moisture,
Okay,
heating the
but
water.
here's the thing though. Here's what you don't know is that the sun and moon are both small and local to the earth. You're thinking from the model you believe the sun is the center, which again that's sun worship, right? Worship of the sun, but that's a different debate for another time. But for your model and belief, the sun is huge. From the flat Earth model, the sun is small and close. It's local to the Earth, probably just a few thousand miles above our head, compared to 93 million miles away, which is what your globe requires. But we'll see where that goes. But yeah, the whole Earth wouldn't be lit up at one time because the sun is a small local light. Like, say, for instance, I don't know if you've ever been into a large warehouse before with like a hanging light.
Yep.
Like, let's say if one corner has a light in it, I'll put that on, and then where I'm at, there's light, right? I could walk, 10 foot this way, I'm still in light. But if I walk 30, 40 feet the other direction, now I'm in pitch darkness. Even though I can see over there across the room, there's light. Look, the light's hanging 10 foot off the floor, lighting up the whole area. But now as I walked away, now as I increased my distance away from the light source, it dwindled, right? And it got shorter. So that's the same thing with the light. The reason why the um the whole earth is not lit up at one time is because the light um dissipates over distance. And you have to remember in the atmosphere there's fog, there's haze, there's rain, and then the light source itself is moving away from you. So that's why the light dissipates. That's why the whole earth is not lit up at one time. Same thing with the darkness.
Yeah.
So with that explanation, what else you got on it? Do you want to have any pushback, or what do you got?
Well, see Job 26 verse 7 says he stretches the north over an empty place and hanging the earth upon nothing, because the flat earthers also teach we're held by pillars, and you believe that?
Okay, well, I want to clarify first. Don't assume that I believe something without asking me, please. Now, what I would explain this as is sure, according to the text, the earth has pillars. And it also says, according to what you brought up, that it hangs upon nothing. So, with that being said, is that a contradiction? No, it is not, because the pillars could just represent what's underneath the earth. But then what's underneath the pillars? It doesn't tell us. So perhaps the earth could be just hanging somewhere, right? As it says, hung upon nothing. Maybe the pillars of the earth are holding the earth up, and then it's on like some, um, like whatever, right? It could be on whatever. We don't know. The deepest hole in the world is the Kola Super Deep borehole that was dug by the Soviet Union back in like the 1980s. It literally goes roughly 8 miles down. In fact, there was even a horror movie made about this called 9 Miles Down because you can't get 9 miles down, right? As you descend into the earth, the heat rises, right? It gets too hot. You can't go any further. In fact, the scientists that were operating the drill said that the rocks were more like plastic at that depth into the earth. But the point is, they literally did not even get 1% of the way towards the quote unquote core of the earth that they claim. So the truth is, nobody knows what's underneath the earth, both from the flat earth perspective and from the globe perspective. Nobody can reach it. So as to what the earth is hanging on, is it on a table? Is it hanging in nothing? None of us can go prove that for ourselves. So I'd argue that that verse could apply to either model. So that doesn't prove or disprove nothing. You got anything?
It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. Now, if the earth is flat, how would he sit upon a circle if there's a dome over it? However, if it's round, he sits on the circle.
Can you say that again for me?
It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. So if he sit upon the circle of the earth, uh, if he sit upon the circle of the earth, uh, that means the earth is round. Now, however, how would you sit upon a circle if the earth is a dome?
Okay. So let me understand this real quick before I respond. So do you believe from your perspective that God is sitting somewhere and he actually has his like feet kicked up on the globe? Or do you acknowledge that that's
Do
not
you
literally what it's saying?
no. It's basically saying the Most High controls and sees everything, but however, he referred to the earth as he referring to the earth as a circle, not an
Okay,
actual.
well, you're once again, man, you're jumping ahead of the gun because I'm going to address that, but I want to
No, I'm not.
clarify. Sir, don't tell me what you're doing. I can see right through you.
You
I
asked me
already
to
knew
prove.
I already knew you were going there. So let me answer your statement and then I'll give the mic back to you.
All right.
Now, in response, I want to point out, well, the flat earth model is a circle. So some people would say that God, his throne is like literally above the earth, right? So if you again, this is what some people believe. Some people don't. Some people believe this. Just depends on who you speak to. Some believe that, if you go above the firmament, God's throne is literally there. So he's literally above the earth and Christ would be on his side. Some people believe that. But even if we use your perspective about God, like sitting there with his feet upon the world, well, that technically could work with the flat model too, because the earth is a circle and it just has a dome over it. So I don't see your point of the argument because even from your perspective, you're acknowledging that it's not literal. It's like a figurative of speech, even from your perspective. You're saying, yeah, well, he has, control over it. Right. And it even says in the verse that the inhabitants are as grasshoppers. So does God view us as literal grasshoppers? No, it's just using a metaphor, right? We're not actually grasshoppers walking around, but it's just a metaphor. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But I also, before you read what you just typed up, I want to point something else to you because you focused on what was the word you focused on? Circle, right?
Yep.
Okay. Judah, is the flat earth model a circle?
Yeah. So a circle, and that's what I was going to get at. A circle means the circle could be a flat surface or it could be a sphere, a sphere.
Okay.
But
Now,
me
now,
personally, I
they're
believe
very,
it's a
now, very,
sphere.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I believe it's a sphere you're referring to.
Okay, now I will clarify and say that I would agree that the term circle could apply to either a flat earth model or a globe model. So I personally wouldn't go to that verse to prove either or. But what I do want to prove, though, is for the people who just go there and say, well, that ends the discussion that says a circle. I mean, well, I think that you're very arrogant for the people who say that because the flat earth model is a circle. That person just hasn't done any research. But here's a fact I want to put out for you is Isaiah actually knows the difference between a ball and a circle. This is Isaiah chapter 22, verse 18. It says, he will surely violently turn and toss you like a ball into a large country. There thou shalt die, and there the chariots of glory shall be the shame of the Lord's house. But the point is, it says, He'll violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. So do you agree that Isaiah knows the difference between a ball and a circle? So between the two models, a flat Earth and a globe, wouldn't the globe be more so a ball shape, but the flat Earth would be more so a circular shape, according to the depictions we have?
Yeah, it'll be more of a circular shape, and the ball will be more sphere shape. But the Bible, it was back then though, they weren't specific enough with spheres and circles because they didn't have the modern day words that we have. So he'll describe it as a circle. So we
Well,
wouldn't know if it's
let me
flat or
hold you on that though. What modern word do we have it that he wouldn't have on this particular subject?
no. He
Because we
no
see
he, like the
he
Bible is
uses
a
the
basic
word
book.
ball or circle, right? So do we
He
not
would
use
call it
that
a circle,
today?
but it could be a sphere. They didn't have words like that back then. He just like he wouldn't say the Bible wouldn't say sphere. It would have, but it says circle. So we don't know if it's a sphere or actual flat circle. It wouldn't. It's not scientific. It don't go into scientific terms like sphere or circle. So we wouldn't know. You get what I'm saying, right?
I think I understand what you're alluding to,
Yep.
yes. Well, how do you address verses that speak about the sun and the moon being local to the earth? Like the popular one I brought up last time to you in Joshua 10:12, where God tells the sun and the moon to stand still above certain valleys. Because again, according to your worldview, the earth is in rotation, not the sun. But the Bible is telling the sun to stay still, not the earth. So that would be a contradiction from your worldview. How do you address that? And last year, when we had this discussion, you told me it was like a solar eclipse. I don't know if you hold that same position, but you can let the audience know.
What about the solar eclipse?
You don't remember last time we had the discussion, you were telling me that you believe that's describing a solar eclipse, was what you claimed last
Yeah.
time I
Oh
asked
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. That verse.
Are you pulling it up on your side or what?
Yeah. So the solar eclipse is when the moon blocks out the sun for a temporary time.
But Judah, just so I don't get confused, because you seem like you're saying that is your explanation. I brought it up to say that you told me that last time, but I thought you changed your answer due to our discussion, but you're making it sound like you agree that that's your answer now. Could you clarify for me?
About the solar eclipse, because
Yeah,
back then,
hear what I'm asking. I'm not asking you what your thoughts are about solar eclipse. I'm asking you when God told the sun and moon to stand still in Joshua chapter 10, 12 to 13. Your answer last year we talked about this was it was talking about a solar eclipse.
yeah, that
I'm
sounds like
asking
a
you,
solar eclipse.
do you still believe that or did you change your view? That's all I'm asking.
Oh yeah, I still believe that when Earth's sun stand still together, because the moon stands in one place and the Earth stands in another for a few seconds. That's what it looks like. So yeah, that's the solar eclipse. Yeah, I still
Okay,
believe that.
so just so the audience understands, let me just read it real quick and then I'll clarify. This is Joshua 10:12. It says, "Then spoke Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and haste not to go down for about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto a voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel." So, what do you explain that as? If I'm not mistaken, you're saying that's a solar eclipse, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Well, how do you address verse 14 though? I want people to remember literally 2 years ago on April the 8th, there was a solar eclipse that was visible in the United States, and every year around the world there's multiple solar eclipses to happen. And verse 14, it says, "And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto a voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel." So the Bible is saying the event that took place here, and when Israel was in this war, this army, no day like this has ever happened again. Let me read that again. Verse 14, "And there was no day like it before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto a voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel." So the Bible is saying that this never happened again. So how could this be a solar eclipse if a solar eclipse is like happening every day around the world, or at least every year around the world to some degree or another? Yo, I lose you. You still there?
Oh yeah, I'm still there. I'm thinking about it.
Well, I mean, bro, there's nothing to think about. It's just obvious that that's not what it's talking about. It's not a solar eclipse.
Yeah.
You saying yeah, it is, or yeah, as in you agree it's not? Like, notice the
So
language here, right?
it's basically referring to the moon being on the other side and the sun being on the other side.
Like you're talking about them being in front of each other, but it's talking about them being in the sky over different valleys, and
Yeah.
God told them to stay still and not move. So they're not right next to each other. They're above in the sky, above different valleys in the region.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they don't like
So
the
how is
moon.
that a solar eclipse?
I guess I viewed it wrong. I guess I viewed
Okay.
it wrong last year.
I'm sorry I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I viewed it wrong last year. Yeah, I was wrong about that.
Okay. Well, what about the fact that it says that the sun and moon are standing still? So wouldn't you agree that implies they were previously moving if now they're standing still?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how does that work on your globe? Because according to the globe model, the sun doesn't move. It's in the center and we're revolving around it.
Well, I've thought about like if the sun is and moon is like orbiting each other while the Earth is is a sphere, but that doesn't fit like the NASA science that GMS teaches. Well, Apostle Tahar himself teaches that, but
But
I don't know
remember
about it
though,
because
Judah, it's 100% truth, right? Remember, it's 100% truth according to what you said.
that's why I said earlier that I was wrong about that. They got 100% truth about the prophecy, and like they're wrong. They're wrong about like minor shit.
Did you know that back in 2017, Apostle Dahar uploaded a video called Flat Earth Debunked? And what it literally was is he took like a 5 minute video from the ISS live feed from space that is currently on YouTube Live right now as we speak. And that was his proof that the Earth was a globe, is he literally took a fake live stream or CGI live stream from NASA as his proof that the Earth is a spinning globe. Like, don't you find that a little strange, or do you not have anything to say about that?
Well, I mean, it can be used because I did use that in Discord to like prove that the Earth is round, but they use fisheye lens cameras, and I knew about this years back. But one strange fact that I find strange about it, I don't see why we don't see any stars when they should go in space, because I've questioned that too. Like they always do it when the sun is up, but
Well,
when the
do
moon
you
is
want to
up,
do
they
you want
never.
to know the little secret behind why you don't see it? Well,
Huh?
the answer is because they're not actually going to space. They're filmed on sets here on the Earth.
Yeah, I don't believe they went into space. Now that I don't believe because
Wait,
space is
but
full of
let me
radiation.
understand that. But Judah, let me understand though. So you don't believe they went to space, but you do believe in some way, shape, and form this live stream that NASA has. Well, it's real, but they might be using a fisheye lens. Is basically what you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why do you believe that if you just said you don't believe they went to space? Isn't that in space?
I, yeah, but so it's like so you got the ozone layer because because you got it's like a layer, right? But if you like went out to the moon, that's like too much radiation. So I don't believe they've been out to the moon. And how can gas last? That's like a lot of miles for gas to run on. You know, it's unrealistic.
Do you
Then
know
with the
how many,
Wi-Fi connections,
real quick, do you know how many miles away the sun and the moon are from the Earth, according to official school textbook?
what?
I'm asking. I'll give you the answer if
No,
you don't know. I was just curious
no, I
if you
don't
knew.
know.
Okay. They say that the sun is 93 million miles away from the Earth, and they claim that the moon is roughly 236,000 miles away. Was that enough to prove you of that, or like would you be skeptical, or what would you say?
I would say, how can like Wi-Fi connections last that many miles?
What do you mean? What do you mean Wi-Fi
So
connection?
so so yeah, but see like because they have computers where the astronauts from the moon could communicate. So like how was the astronaut able to record the moon landing from the moon all the way to Earth? Because no, a signal can't last that. A signal can't be that strong.
Well, hold up a second. As far as I know, and to be fair, I don't know all the technology that they had back in the '60s. But well, fun fact, they claim it they can't for the life of them get back to the moon safely today because they destroyed the technology that they supposedly did it with the first time, and he said it's painful to build it back again, which is that's a red flag in itself. That was his direct words, not mine. Um, but what happened supposedly when they went to the moon is, I believe, what was it, Nixon, whoever the president was at the time, called them as they were circling about to land on the moon. Like literally with a phone line, he called them and they had a conversation. And they call it the most historical phone call for man or something like that. Do you believe that, or do you think that was like faked and staged?
That was definitely staged because like a phone travel can, frequency can just. First of all, if you were to step out in the wilderness, you'll lose signal. So how the fuck do you step out into space and able to make phone calls? That's retarded.
Okay. Very good. But I do want to ask you this though, because last time when we were in Discord, you were talking about that there are like other planets, terrestrial planets that we're gonna like travel to or
Yep.
can be traveled to, and the stars you were talking about as well. Tell me a little bit more about that, because all the pictures you have of supposed terrestrial planets that we could live on or land on all come from NASA, which you agree is not trustworthy.
Well, well, yeah, but it says that so it says in it says in Psalms 8 verse 3 to 6, when I consider the heavens, the work of my fingers, the moon and the stars, thou madest at him to have dominion over the works of thy hands. Assisting that there's other planets out there. Romans 8 verse 17, and if children, then hears the heirs of God and joint the heirs with Christ. They argue that the heirs of Christ mean inherited all. So that means you inherited all the creations under his rule. He that overcometh shall inherit of all things. Revelation 20 verse 7. So we inherited all of his creation. So if he created other planets, we will inherit that too.
Where in there is it talking about planets is what I'm curious, because as far as I know, the only terrestrial plane that God created is this physical earth that we live on. Like, say, for instance, if you read the Genesis account, there's no place where it talks about hell being created somewhere, nowhere where it talks about Mars being a terrestrial planet that you could travel to, or Venus, or some other planet a couple light years away, as they claim. Let me ask you a question. Do you know how many planets they claim exist out there in the universe?
Planets. Yeah, they say it's over like a billion planets. But
Actually, no.
if you buy a
You are
telescope,
you are wrong. Let me correct you. It's not a billion. It's not a trillion. It is a quintillion, which is a trillion 1,000 times over. Did you know about that? That's literally what they claim.
damn.
That there's a quintillion planets out there. You can't fathom that. And what is all this about them claiming? Oh, well, we know what's at we're trying to send a rover to the edge of the universe so we can map what's out there. It's like, how the hell are you gonna do that? How the hell are you gonna claim that you have everything mapped and you know all of that? Isn't it more believable that somebody's just like making this up in some office somewhere and just like print it out, CGI
Yeah,
pictures to just give the world?
yeah. So
Like,
that
isn't that more logical?
so yeah, that I don't believe. I don't. No, nobody knows how many planets there are. All we know is we have Jupiter, Saturn, because you could look at these through the telescope too. You
Okay,
could buy a
but
telescope.
here's the problem though. I'm not denying that there's lights in the sky that you can see through a telescope.
But
But what
there's
I am
planets.
arguing, bear with me for a second. But what I am arguing is that you can't travel and land there. There's just something on the ceiling above us. What are they? We don't know. But I'm arguing that you can't go there and land on there and try to live there. That's a lie. That's fiction. There's no other terrestrial planets that you can travel to and try to civilize and live on. That is Hollywood fiction. So I would agree. There's stuff in the sky. Hell, there's a lot of stuff up in the sky that's weird and, we don't know. But the point is, nobody can travel there and live on it. That's the point that I'm saying. So when I say there's not other planets out there, I'm talking about you can't travel there and actually live on it. But sure, you can see certain things up in the sky through a telescope. I'm not going to argue that. But how do you know it's not just a ball of gas? How do you know it's not just a sticker on the ceiling? How do you know what it is if you can't go there? So everybody's just making a assumption as to what
Right,
these things are.
right. But through this, but see, I assume that that they have a rock surface. If there are any rock surface planets, we're gonna go on there.
But let me ask you that though. Why do you assume that it has a rock surface? Because NASA pictures you seeing, or what makes you assume that?
Well, if there's other planets out there, some can be made of gas and some can be made out of rock.
Well, let me actually educate you. Did you know that they say that there's planets that are made of pure diamond? Planets out there that are made of crystal?
Yeah,
Planets out there that have 500 per mile winds? They claim that this stuff is out there. Do you believe
yeah,
that, or do you think
yeah. I
that's
believe that.
science fiction? I didn't
Yeah,
hear
I
you.
believe that.
You believe that there's a planet made of diamonds out there?
Yeah.
Why do you believe that? Because you just saw a CGI picture on the internet?
No, but the Most High could create anything he wants. I mean, why wouldn't he create it? There's shit out there
Well,
we don't
well,
know that's out there.
well. I'm gonna hold on a second. I'm not gonna argue that God can do whatever He wants. Sure, but the point is in His Word, there's no talk about other galaxies and planets that you can travel and live on. That is fiction. So again, the only reason you supposedly know about this stuff and believe in it is because that's what you saw in the school textbooks growing up. That's what they want you to think. But you have no evidence of these things. Like, say, for instance, if I asked you, how do you know that the sun's 93 million miles away? What would your answer be? How do you know that to be true?
Um, we can map out every planet. It's got 500 miles per hour wind. It's made out of gold. But however, there's the, the Most High created a lot of stuff, so we don't know what's out there.
But Judah, did you hear what I asked you, though? I didn't ask about the planets. I asked how you know the sun is 93 million miles away.
Oh yeah. Well, that we can't map out the we can't map out the exact location or distance, but it's all a theory because if you look it up, NASA says it's a theory too. But all we know that the
Wait,
Earth is
wait, what are they saying is a theory? Because the last time I checked, they're saying that they're like for certain, at least from the evidence they
what is a theory?
supposedly have, that it's
It's yeah,
93
it's a
million
theory.
miles. Where's that at? Is that on their official site? Where are they saying this?
No, I know they told us the numbers, but I know the number is a theory. Those are theories. You can't. We don't go off of numbers. We just go off of what we see. We see a all I've been saying this whole conversation. We see a curvature. I assume that the Earth does move around the sun because why do you think we get winter and summer?
Once again,
The,
seasons, my friend. The sun and moon revolve over the earth.
but if you look at
That's why you
but
have
see
cold days, hot days, and different seasons. It's very easy. Again, you really have done no research into what you're talking about, and I say that with
I took a
respect.
physics class. I know about the round Earth. Like for
Oh,
instance,
you took, but let me tell you something, man. Do you remember we had a discussion about this like 6 months ago? I asked you literally elementary school basics about the heliocentric and geocentric model, and you got an F on that. Like seriously, like say for instance, do you know what the difference is between the word geocentric or heliocentric? Just for an example, without Googling, by the way. So again, I'm saying if you know this stuff by memory, man, you shouldn't have to Google every sentence or question. You should know this off the top of the head.
so what they taught us in physics about the flat Earth, the northern and southern lights come from the magnetic rotation. Then what they taught us about then what they taught us about the Earth evolving around the sun. So the Earth, the orbit around the sun changes all the seasons.
And you're saying you know that for a fact because you learned that in a school textbook?
Yeah.
So how do you know that for a
Well,
fact?
the only
Well,
reason
how did they
why I
figure that
believe
out?
that and around Earth is because GMS teaches it, and I believe they have the one. Well, I used.
Okay, okay. But Judah, use your brain and think for yourself. You believe the Earth was a globe 5 years ago before you even knew GMS existed. So why 5 years ago did you believe in the spinning globe?
Oh, 5 years ago, I believe it was flat.
Really, you believe? Man, I I don't believe that. I honestly don't believe you. You know why? Because you don't know anything about the flat Earth model.
Look
You
at my
don't
older
know anything
videos. I
about
can
the
show you
flat Earth
older
model.
videos. I used to be into the flat Earth.
Brother, listen here, Judah. Again, I don't want to have to call you a liar, but what you're saying doesn't add up. How could you say, "Oh, well, I used to be in it. I used to believe it," and then I
I used to
ask you
teach the
about?
flat
Well,
Earth.
hold,
Yes, my
chill
older
out for one
videos.
second. Chill out for one second. Then I ask you the very basics that every flat earther knows. You literally don't even know a single point. So either you just heard the word and you believed it, or you certainly couldn't have done research into it because we've proven here tonight that you don't know anything about the flat earth model. All you know is maybe the word. It's like, okay, well, what about the seasons? What about the curvature? What about the sun? What about the moon? All these things every flat earther knows about. These are the basics that you would learn. You know what I'm saying? So it's just hard to believe that you're honestly saying you used to believe it
You want me to send
because
you
when I
a? You
ask
want me
you
to send
about it,
you
you're
send
clueless
you an
as
older
to it.
video?
I'm sorry, you said what?
I can send you an older video if you want me to. I'm not a liar.
Yeah, yeah. On Discord, when we get off later, go ahead and send me a video, and
Yeah,
out of respect, I will check it out.
I can even show you older posts too I made too, and I
I
used to
mean,
be a flat
I'll
earther.
check it out, but I do have to
Yeah,
ask you, if that's the case, why are you clueless as to the flat Earth arguments? Like, shouldn't you know some of it? Like, even if you don't believe in it anymore, shouldn't you at least know about it to some
I didn't
degree?
go that deep like you went into it. All I just knew was the Earth is well. Used to believe that the Earth is flat.
But
We
what
have a
convinced you?
dome. They
But
use
what do you see
fisheye
that
lens
convinced
to
you of
make
it?
it look
Well, what do
round.
you? Okay, but what do you see that convinced you of that all of a sudden? Like when you
Joining
believe that?
GMS.
Wait, hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. You can't say because you joined GMS, it's like, well, wait, but they don't teach the flat Earth, so that
Yeah, they
didn't
do.
convince you.
I mean, no, they
So
don't. Yeah, but that's the reason why that's the reason I don't believe in flat Earth because because they don't teach they, they don't teach the flat Earth because they teach us a distraction and we're gonna travel to other galaxies. We're gonna travel on other planets. That I
yeah,
believe. So
okay, but what I'm saying is you're just saying that just to repeat somebody. You're not making any logical reason for believing that. Somebody just told you. Like basically, Judah, what you're doing is this: like a Christian. Like I'll give you an example. I literally know somebody who me and a Catholic were having a discussion the other day, like somewhere local, and a subject of unclean food like shellfish or lobster came up, and they said, well, yeah, in the Old Testament, that they didn't practice eating those things, but my pastor today said it wasn't really a big deal. So that's really what you're doing. You're just saying, well, GMS says this, so I believe it. So you're saying the same excuse that Christian made. Well, my pastor says today that shellfish or lobster or pork is clean for me, so I believe it. Like that's literally the same argument you're making. We just changed the topic of the disagreement. You see what I'm saying? Like you're
yep.
just repeating something because they said so. Let me give you another example. The Har said that Christ, Yahushai, was born to a rich family. Do you believe that too, or was he in error on that?
He was born into a poor family. Christ grew up
Okay,
poor.
but Tahar said that he was born to a wealthy family.
Yeah, but I gotta look. Read over that second. I gotta read over that the second time, because I use ChatGPT to look up to ask questions about the GMS scripture, and they'll break down their version of the breakdown of the scriptures. So I like go back into it and say, oh yeah, this is what they were talking about. You know, you can
Okay.
stumble on certain verses.
Well, let's say this, man. Like, if you could, off of the top of your head, provide like the best hard hitting proof that we're living on a whirling, rotating globe, what would you say that that proof would be? Like, if you had to bring your hardest hitting point to demonstrate that, what would that be?
The northern and southern lights. That's magnetic rotation creating creating the Barillas lights and the southern and south pole lights and the north and south pole lights.
Okay, so your whole evidence that we live on a spinning, whirling globe is just because of a couple of lights in the sky.
That and you can see stars at certain. The stars look different around different parts of the Earth. Yeah, those two facts.
Well, you brought something up about the moon at all. Well, well, you see it differently. You see it differently. I'll address that, but just so I don't misrepresent you, do you want to tell the audience what you meant by, well, the moon, you see it upside down, so that proves it's a globe. Want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so if you go to certain parts of the Earth, the moon will look big. The moon will look small.
I mean,
So
well, first of all, that wasn't even the point I asked you about. But I can literally see that in my own backyard. Some nights the moon is huge. Other times it's over in the distance. Why is that? Because it's circling overhead. Some nights it's closer. Sometimes it's further away. And also sometimes it's out during the daytime, which is funny because I remember back in school we're told that while it's daytime here, the moon's on the other side of the world. And then it will change. The sun will be on that side of the world. Then the moon will be on our side of the world. So why are they both in the sky at the exact same time in my backyard? I can see them like that. That logically makes no sense. But that was not the question that I asked you. I asked you about you made a statement on your show or whatever it was and said, well, the moon, some people view it upside down compared to other people. And that was like a proof you used as to why the Earth's a globe. Do you remember that? Man, I
um,
hear you typing away over there. You don't know off the top of the head how to answer?
well, first of all, I was typing because I was answering to slander because somebody called me a crypto Jew in the private
Okay.
chat.
All right. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but what you said again?
All right. Well, I'll just explain it this way. If you don't know, that's fine. But maybe you'll pick up with what I say. So the reason why some people see the moon like upside down compared to others is it's due to the perspective. Like, say, for instance, if we have a large warehouse, and let's say we put like a moon shaped bulb light on the ceiling. From my perspective, let's say I'm on the right, someone's on the left. From my perspective, I'm going to see it this way. The shapes on the moon, the crevices and whatnot are shaped and pointing this way from my perspective. But a person across the room is going to see it upside down compared to how I'm seeing it. Even though we're both looking at the same object, we're both seeing it differently because of our perspective. So that's why people are seeing the moon upside down in different parts of the world. What's your pushback to that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, fair enough. Did you know that there's been photographs taken where people like zoom into the moon, right? Like, you ever seen any of these YouTube videos where they zoom in on the
Yeah.
moon to see? But some of them show literal stars through the moon. There's a couple of photographs out there that's been taken over the decades where they show literal stars through the supposed dark side of the moon. How do you think that happens? What's your example for that?
Let me look it up to see what it looks like. I gotta see it first.
I mean, if you Google like star visible through moon, you should get a couple results. And by the way, these were years or decades before the AI or Chat GPT, so you can't just say these are like AI images. Just a fun fact.
I don't see any images with the with I don't see any images with with the moons. You said there's stars on the dark side of the moon. I don't see any images.
Okay, well, all perhaps I can show you an image of that later. Perhaps Google's covering that up, but I've seen them myself a few times. People have photographed stars visible through the dark side of the moon. If you don't know about that, I guess I'll just skip that point. But yeah, man, I'm just curious because all of your arguments, again, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but all your arguments tonight are weak for why you believe in a spinning globe. Oh, and by the way, do you know well, I guess I could ask, do you know the radius of the Earth? Do you know the mile per hour spin? These are literally taught to us in elementary school, man. Do you know them?
No, and I was homeschooled, so they didn't teach us pseudo. My parents taught us that the Earth was flat in homeschool. That was NASA was a lie. My academics were different from everybody else's. I was homeschooled.
So you didn't have a physical book from some organization that was sent to your house for you to study? Because I was
No,
homeschooled
they
too, but we
no
get
they
sent
no. So
study books from either
they bought
hand,
our
right?
shit from Barnes and Noble.
So okay, so bought it from Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, we
So
just
there
did
was
math and reading. That's
so you're
pretty
telling
much
me
it.
in those books they didn't teach you about the solar system and the Earth in there? Like really, you're telling me that?
No. I mean, we just learn math, reading, and a little bit of history.
Okay, man. So like,
Because
uh,
like I said,
let me ask this,
my
man.
parents went
I don't
against
know.
that.
Did you turn 20 like a couple days ago, or was that someone else's post I saw?
No, I turned 20 April
Okay, that
26th.
all right, that's fine. So let me understand this. So do you know the radius of the Earth? If I start from here, walk in a direction, like let's just say hypothetically, I could walk in one direction and come back up the other side, which is what the Earth claims. Do you know the radius, like how many miles that would be if I start here, walk in a direction around the whole world and come back up the opposite side to the starting point? Do you know how many miles that would be roughly?
No.
All right. Well, just so you know, that's roughly 24,900 and some miles in circumference is what modern science claims. How about the rotation of the Earth? Do you know how many miles per hour we're supposedly spinning through space?
1,000 miles per hour.
Okay, very good. Now, do you believe that?
Um, there's no scientific proof. No.
Well, why do you think they say it then, or claim it?
I just think they make up. I just think they just make up theories.
Okay, so they make up theories, but it's not a theory about there being planets of diamond or gold a billion
I said
miles
that's a
away.
theory, but it could be possibly true that there are planets made of diamonds and gold, and it could be a possibility or not. We don't know what's out there. So yeah, I do say it's a theory.
Okay. Well, how do you think that this correlates with the scriptures about modern science claiming that the Earth we are on moves and wobbles and rotates around an infinite galaxy and sun? But the Word of God says the Earth is stable and can't be moved. I'll give you an example. Like this is Psalms 93, verse 1, it says, "The Lord reigneth, he is clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed with strength, and wherewith he hath girded himself. The world also is stable, that it cannot be moved." What's your thoughts on that?
No, the world is stable and cannot be moved. It's not spinning.
Okay, but I thought, according to what you've been defending this whole night, that it is moving and rotating.
So I don't know if it's spinning or rotating, or I just know I believe we live on a sphere. I don't know too much.
Okay, well, I mean, how would you react to someone telling you, "Well, I don't know much about Jesus. I just know the name Jesus." Like, what would you say about that person? Again, like these free gracers, all, "Well, I believe in Jesus." You ask them, "Do you know anything else about the gospel?" They don't know. Like, you'd view that as pathetic and weak, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, would it be fair for someone to say the same thing about you, that you believe in a spinning globe, but have literally not a single reason why you believe it? And
Yeah,
again, I'm
they're
not
free.
trying
Yeah,
to be
yeah, they're free to
hateful.
have their own opinions.
I'm just simply asking you because you've brought nothing. of value to this discussion tonight. Like you have no proof of what you're saying, man. You're just saying something because you're
Yeah,
told.
yeah, they are free to have their own opinions.
And hey, and here's the other thing. You're free to believe that you live on a rotating world or and that there's planets of diamonds out there that you're going to travel to. If you want to believe that, my friend, you're welcome to go believe that. But all I would criticize you of and say that you have no reason why you believe that. You're just saying that just for just for saying it, right?
I
Just
was just
because you
saying, just
can,
for
that's
saying. I
why you
told
do.
you, I have to believe this because I joined GMS and
Well, let me. Well,
I,
GMS doesn't teach that there's planets of diamonds and gold out there in the universe. I've
we
never
don't
heard
get we
that
but see
out of 10 years of watching.
we don't get too deep into that because Most High said don't look into things, so we have to keep a closed mind.
So let me understand. So, does somebody in GMS take you to the side and tell you there's planets of diamonds and gold out there in the universe? Because I haven't seen that.
No, that's why
In
I
fact,
said
I
NASA.
would
That's why I
argue.
said NASA made a theory. It's a theory.
But Judah, here's what I would argue. I would argue that you had no idea that there was such a claim prior to tonight because I just told you that they claim that. I would argue that you didn't know about that yesterday or last week. This is something you just heard about like 40 minutes ago and you already believe it. Is that true or what are you going to say?
Uh, no, I didn't switch up my beliefs at all.
Well, how about as far as not changing up your beliefs, what about when we had the discussion like 6 months ago
Yeah, I
about the
used to
flat and globe Earth, and you were saying you could see some of the points I'm saying, but now today you have no clue what I'm alluding to. Would you say you were dishonest back then? Were you misled, or what would you
Yeah,
say?
back then I'll say I was misled.
So
I was
so how who misled you? Did I mislead you, or who
no,
misled
I
you?
did that to myself.
Okay. Well, explain how that happened by reading the text, by doing research. How did you mislead yourself from looking at the geocentric and heliocentric and going back to believing that you're like standing upside down right now, and then people in Australia are like right under our feet across the world? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
Like,
mean,
think about
like
that, man. Like you believe that, like, under our feet right now, wherever you're at in the United States, Australia's. Hell, even Luke was in the chat earlier. So Luke, he's upside down right now. He's drinking water upside down. And then us from his perspective, we're upside down. So I'm sitting here upside down, you're upside down compared to his right side up and vice versa. Right? Like you believe that?
yeah, because it's an optical illusion. So the more further, so it looks. So if you look at the sky, you can see the curvature because everything looks down like the clouds. But when you go up, it's gonna be the same altitude. Um, so since the Earth is spinning, um, we're able to stick onto the surface. So yeah, the whole world's an optical illusion. Yeah,
But let me understand this. So you keep saying the curvature in the sky, like you brought up earlier, if we go to the beach, I look out at the ocean, I see the curvature. So if I go in an airplane and look out the window, shouldn't the curvature be much more noticeable compared to me standing on the beach?
yeah, you will see the curvature when you go in a high altitude.
But
People
I'm
on Mount
saying I've
Everest
been
seen the
about chill.
curvature.
Hang on a second. I haven't been to Mount Everest, but I have been in planes that are higher than Mount Everest, and I've looked out the window and seen no curvature. We have people over the last decade who have taken up infrared cameras to zoom out the windows of these planes, and you can see for hundreds and hundreds, possibly even thousands of miles in either direction, and there's no curvature we can detect from the high altitude footage we have. We have balloon footage, right? High altitude balloon footage from well over 100,000 feet, 130, 140,000 feet roughly. And there's no curvature if we take off a fisheye lens. So, like how do you explain, I guess from your perspective, would be anomalies? How do you explain anomalies like this? Like, again, I'm just hearing a lot of excuses from your perspective, man.
These are not excuses. These are scientific facts. I mean, you go. People took a photo. I mean, not all the planes are fisheye lens. I mean, you could. I mean, I mean, yeah, I mean, not all the planes are fish. Because there's a theory that they put fisheye lens and make it look round, but that's
Okay, but
BS.
Mr. Judah, that's not what I said. I didn't say they put fisheye lens in the window of the airplane. That's not what I said. What I'm saying is you don't see curvature from an airplane window. And I gave you an example to prove it. We've had people that go up with cameras. They have infrared, so you're able to see a far distance, and we can't detect curvature. So the burden of proof is on you to demonstrate how you see curvature. Remember, you said you can see it outside your house, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Someone in the comments wanted you. Oh, SKS. Yo, how you doing, SKS? It was funny. I ran into SKS on a random YouTube video I was watching last week. I was like, "Yo, damn, that's a small world right there." I ran into SKS in a random video I was watching. That's a small world. But he wanted you to address this. This is Genesis 1:6. It says, "And God said, Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And in verse 7, it says, "And God made the firmament, divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so." So, what do you understand that firmament to be?
Let me look it up. In a few minutes, I have to go to bed because it's 1:23 a.m. over here.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm not running away from the debate. I'm just.
Well, I mean, man, as I said, you don't have anything. You don't have any ball in this court, man. You don't have anything to add to this debate.
I
Like,
have
like
common
what
sense,
what
and
what do
you
you
can
have?
look and see the
You,
curvature
you
yourself
have you have
standing
common
outside.
sense. You have common sense to believe that you're like we're upside down right now, and that the government is the minister of God to us for good. That's common sense.
Well,
Like, what are you talking about?
I didn't say they're the minister of good. They're on the left hand. They're the minister of evil. But however,
Oh,
it's
so
working
now
in
they're the
our
minister
favor
of
because
evil,
they
but the
need to
text
they
says
need to
they're the
bring forth the
minister of good,
prophecy.
though.
So it's good for us hopeful elect out there. So yeah, they're doing something good for the hopeful elect out there, bringing forth the prophecy
So
because
they're so
they're
they're doing good by saying a man can go lay with another man. That's good. Come on,
societal
man.
decay. Well, see,
Come
that's
on,
societal
man.
decay. Societal decay is good for the 144,000 elect. We want this place to be destroyed. We want them to usher in the market of beast so we could be out of here. So the worse this place gets, the more happier that makes us be because we got the spirit of understanding. That's what the Holy Comforter is for. We're comfortable understanding why these things are happening. The worse this place get, the means we're getting closer and closer to being the fuck up out of here. Right?
You got
That
an
makes
answer
sense.
for his question?
That makes sense.
I mean, I don't agree with you, but for sake of argument, I'll
See,
just accept it.
you're not understanding. But in
But
Genesis one
Judah,
verse
if
six,
anybody's not understanding, it's obviously you. I mean, you have made some
you don't know what a
absolutely,
minister is.
excuse me, sir, but you have only been teaching the Bible for under a year. I have 10 years of
No,
experience.
I get
I don't,
3 years of
I don't,
experience.
don't disrespect me like that. That's all I'm going to tell you. Because
Oh, I'm
you're
not being
biting off more. You're
disrespectful.
biting off more than you can chew, my friend.
At the
Is what you're
at the
doing.
beginning of the video, I did say my disagreements aren't disrespectful. I still learn from you, and I told you you're a better teacher than I am, and you keep the commandments better than I do. But I did give you your flowers at the beginning. I'm not throwing dirt on your name whatsoever. All I'm just saying is these are my views.
And again, you're welcome. You're welcome to your views, my friend. But I want you to understand something. The Bible says if you're leading people astray, your name's going to be blotted out of the book of life. So this is a very serious thing. I know you and Jay like to play, games and shit and
Well,
try
Jay
to
is a
troll
troll.
people and whatnot. Whatever. But this is a serious thing that you guys are messing with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't a joking matter, man. Your soul could be on the line here if you're adding and taking away from what it says, according to Revelation, what is that, 22, verse 18 and 19. So this is a serious thing.
Right.
What's your thoughts about this verse here? This is Job chapter 37, verse 18. It says, "Has thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong? like a molten looking glass. What do you think that is? Because we'd argue that the firmament is like an actual structure that expands over this whole earth. That's what we'd say the firmament is. Like even Jay knows about that. That knucklehead has enough cells in his brain to be able to contemplate that idea.
You said
So what do
it's a
you
molten.
understand as to be a strong molten glass? Or what is that? What do you think that is?
Well, that is probably a dome. You got me there.
Wait, you said there is probably a dome. So how does that work on the globe then?
It can't work on the globe.
So how could there be a firmament then from your perspective?
The firmament with a glass dome, right?
From the flat earth model, that's correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't believe in that though.
I mean, well, I'll admit that I was wrong. I mean, I probably was wrong about the Earth shape.
Do you know who Verta von Braun is?
No.
Okay. When you get the free time, do a Google search on him. He was a high up scientist with NASA. I believe it was during the
Can you
Operation
type his name
Paperclip.
in the chat, please?
Bear with me for a second. SKS, you can do that while you're down there because I'm busy here reading this. But I wanted to bring him up for a reason because on his tombstone they put a verse on it. Remember, this is a high up a scientist working with NASA. I believe it was with the Project Paperclip or something like that. You can do the research on it. But they put this on his tombstone. This is Psalms chapter 19, verse 1. It says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows his handiwork." Don't you think that's odd to put that on this guy, this NASA scientist, a tombstone,
Yeah,
talking
I've
about
heard
the
about that
firmament?
before too. Yeah.
But here's what I'm trying to understand, though, because the firmament, from all these examples we're seeing, right? God put a firmament to divide the waters from the water. We see it's hard like a molten looking glass. We see that it should demonstrates the handiwork of God. It's obviously a physical, literal thing you can actually see or touch. But how would that work from your perspective? That's what I'm curious to see, because that don't work on the globe. So I'm just curious how you guys understand that.
Um. Yeah. There can't be a molten glass on a sphere model.
Okay. So so again, I'll give the floor to you. Do you have like any got your point or anything to say about the flat Earth? Then, like you got anything else?
No, that's about it.
Okay.
I mean, I would admit that I was probably wrong about the Earth shape.
I mean that's fine, my friend. You're entitled to your own
Yes. Yes,
beliefs and
Salakia.
views. But with that being said, though, how could you still say GMS got 100% truth if
Yeah, I
you
just
now
said in the
disagree with
middle
that?
of I just said in the middle of the video they got 1% truth regarding the prophecy, but other stuff I'll say they got 98% truth.
Okay. All right. Very well. Very well. So yeah, man. You got anything
I
else
mean, I am
before you drop out?
like I said, I don't. I mean, I am open to criticism, but I mean, I'll admit when I'm wrong.
Yeah, and
So I mean,
and
I'll say I was wrong about the
I'll give you
shape.
respect for that, my friend, because a lot of people don't want to do that. A lot of people will not acknowledge or accept that they're wrong. Everybody wants to be right all the time, but we see, in some of these circumstances that that's, not the case. So I'll give you credit that you're able to acknowledge that, because most people, wouldn't want to acknowledge that. So I do got to give you credit on that.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
open to
anyway,
criticism
Judah,
because
you have a good night, my friend. All right.
all right, you too. Oh, I do
All
want
right.
to address something because this Jay thinks I'm a crypto Jew, which I'm not.
Well, let's watch the words we use on here because I
Yeah,
don't want my stream to be flagged. So if you want to address that, go do that on Discord.
yeah, I will.
Okay.
All right, you have a nice night, T.
All
God
right.
bless
You
you.
as well. You as
All right.
well. Yo, Jay, is that you?
Yeah,
Yo.
what's going on?
All right. What's up, man? How you doing?
All right.
Okay, you got a subject or topic on your mind?
No,
No. Well, haven't you been listening to me and Judah for the last hour in the back chat?
not for an hour.
Well, did you hear anything from our discussion?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, allow us tell us a little bit about your recent move to Mormonism. How'd that come about? What happened with that?
What do you mean?
Aren't you going around saying that you're a Mormon now?
No, that's a
No.
learning experience. I'm trying to get the literature and learn the secrets.
Maybe am I seeing things? I thought you were in the Discord the other day saying that you consider yourself a Mormon now.
No, that's just a joke.
Just a joke. Okay. Well, is it also a joke that you believe in Jesus still, or what's going on with that?
What do you mean?
Like, would you still consider yourself a follower of Christ, or did you take Mike's path?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
You don't remember Sid, right? That Mike dude.
I know who you're referring to, but I don't know what you're alluding to.
Like how that dude's on there saying, well, now he don't believe in Christ. That's like that's like added on, right? That's like added on, right? So Christ isn't really who he says he is, and he disregards his teachings or whatever. So I'm saying, like, do you still follow Christ, or do you now like view it
Of
different or
course,
something? Okay. Well, what would you say is different then?
nothing. What are you saying
Nothing.
that's different?
I mean, I'm not saying anything different. I'm like I'll give an example. Like one thing I would say that you're saying different now compared to say 3 years ago, just for an example. Hell, back in the Minus Your Reg days, inside joke. On there claiming that you believe in Adolf and his background and whatnot. But also claim Christ. So that's something new that you've added to your belief system in recent months, or at least year, as you said.
That's not new.
What do you mean not new? You weren't talking about that 3 years ago.
Uh, Not 3 years ago, but up till about maybe like a year or two now. Yeah, definitely.
No, not 2 years. I would argue probably not even 5 months. Maybe you believed it in your head, but I mean nobody's seen you talk about this on live streams anywhere.
But I mean, how can you really talk about something like that on a live stream when that would get your channel flagged?
Well, that's why you use coded language.
Yeah, and I do.
Okay, so like I'm saying, like, are you lying on yourself that you just like came up with that recently, or did you believe that for a couple years?
For a couple years, yeah, definitely. Did the
Okay.
research.
Well, how does it make sense for just from your perspective? I'm just curious, and the audience probably wants to know too. How could you claim that you believe in Christ, right, and about the Bible's moral values and standards, but then still claim that you follow somebody who led to the death of millions? And again, if you want to argue that maybe some things are being misrepresented or over exaggerated in history, that's a debate for another time. But the fact still stands that this man's philosophy led to the death of a few million people. Even a million is too much. Even 100,000 is too much. So either way you cut the cake, as I like to say, I don't see how you could hold that belief system. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a very nuanced situation, and it's not as black as white as you're making it. I mean, like the man sent many peace treaties to Churchill and London, and America as well. He was trying to start a peace deals, peace treaties. You know, he didn't want the war. So I mean, they kind of backed him into a corner. So what are you going to do? You're going to lay down and roll over, or are you going to start the offense when they start rolling into your territory, killing your people? So I mean, it's not very nuanced. I mean, it's very nuanced. It's not very black and white. So I mean, there's a war, and the we'll call them the noses. They internationally declared war on Germany. They put that in the newspaper. The headline was called "Judea declares war on Germany," where they boycotted every German-made good internationally, mostly in America. So I mean, like you know, that they didn't really have a choice.
But let me understand. So you're like saying that it's a historical lie to say that they under Adolf's rule, they went into like Poland or tried to fight the Russians. Like they weren't the aggressor, is your perspective?
No, they weren't the aggressors. They were Russia was the aggressor. America was the aggressor. Um, England was the aggressor. There may be aggressive techniques within their strategy. They attacked the Soviet Union first, but they were on the prepare to advance the Soviets to advance westward to take Berlin. So they started the offense first.
Okay. So like, say for instance, like, do you accept the history of World War I in textbooks?
Well, of course. I mean, that's not very. I'm not sure what you're getting at. Where I'm saying that the wars never happened, or something didn't happen. I never said that at all.
Yeah, I'm
Well, of
not. I'm
course,
not
World
saying.
War One,
Well, to clarify,
World
I'm not
War
saying that
One.
you're saying that. I'm not saying you're
Oh,
saying
that's
that.
what it sounds like every time you talk about
Well,
it.
well, no, sir. If you
But
actually pay attention to what I'm saying, that's not the case. Like I explained
okay,
to you
that's
last
fine.
time, you're
That's
you're
fine.
saying. But let me clarify for the audience. What I said that he was saying is that sure the wars happen, but they're misrepresenting the casualties, misrepresenting like the reasons why these events happen. That's your perspective, correct?
To an extent, I would say. But
Okay.
going back to World War One, the events of World War One is what started the guy's motive, and then you see it gradually steading up to where they take over the German government and establish a new order.
Okay. Well, without getting into too many dark terms here, is it true or false that they were trying to exterminate a certain group of people, or would you say that was like a fabricated lie that they put on them?
No, I definitely say it's a fabricated event. There's too many when you approach something like this, even like approach like how you're approaching flat Earth. There's too many inconsistencies with that narrative of 6 million. Oh, then the Earth is round. Well, look at all this other stuff. I mean, you got to approach it with the same kind of outlook. And yeah, there's definitely too many inconsistencies with that, and some of the stories don't hold up. There was this Australian, I believe, forgot what he did, like his credentials, but it was for the Treblinka camp, I think in Poland. I think that's what it is. And they talked about these mass graves, and this guy went there and he studies underground, where you can map underground. You can like they do like the frequencies where they go into like kind of like they do with rocks underground, and then you could see like what's down there and get like the mapping of it. And there's supposedly these mass graves at this site, and this Australian dude went there. I forgot his name, and he mapped the underground, and there's nothing there. I mean, so there's a lot of inconsistencies in this narrative,
Okay.
and
Well,
this
I
is
don't.
mainstream stuff too. I mean, I don't believe the Earth is round, so I would approach that with the same outlook that I'm approaching this.
Okay. Well, why do you think shouldn't Christ be the main figure that you should be looking up to?
I mean, who's saying that I'm not?
Well, I mean, I would argue that claiming that you believe in Adolf and his his story and belief system, that contradicts what Christ stands for. That's what I
Well,
would
no, not
put it
really.
forward and say.
I mean, everything that they stood for, I would say, would be off of a Christian narrative.
Okay, well, what about like not killing your neighbor?
I mean, did they really like purposely kill their neighbor? I mean,
I mean,
people died
from the
from
research
starvation.
I've seen, yeah.
No, I mean, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
mainstream narrative. You got to like go further. I mean, I sent you documentaries, but you're too lazy to watch them. So I mean, you dismiss them all,
I mean, buddy,
and
I
then
don't.
you say you don't
This,
go over to other like sites like BitChute. You only watch them on YouTube. So I mean, good
my
luck
friend,
finding
I
those on
want to
YouTube.
chill out for a second. Like, say for instance, not everybody has 12 hours or 15 hours to
Yeah,
watch a
nobody's
documentary.
telling you
Sure,
to watch a
a
documentary
10 or
fully. You
15.
watch it in increments.
Are you drunk or something? Why do you have
No,
to
not
keep
at
over
all.
talking? Well, can you be cordial?
Sure, yeah, but I mean, like,
Okay.
come on now.
Yeah, I'm saying I can watch a 10 or 15 minute video, but not all of us have time of the day to watch a 15 hour video. You
Well,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, but nobody's telling you to watch a documentary fully in a full 12 hours. You watch it in increments. I mean, I'm not sure why you would like come to that like, thought like that. I'm not saying watch the full 12 hours right away. You watch an hour here, you watch 30 minutes there until you're done with it. And that's what I did.
Yeah, that's fine. Man, as I said, it's just strange to me, that we're in the time right now where we see all these, prophecies happening in the Bible, and you want to like backstep to go and talk about Adolf and his legacy and story. He's actually a good guy. They're just like misleading us all, but yet Christ is just around the corner now. Like, aren't there more important things that we can talk about now with everything we see happening in the world? Like, this is really what you want to spend your time debating people about or trying to
I'm
teach?
not debating anybody, but this plays into it though. Like the events that we're seeing, these are the end time events, and what happened with them was, I would say a catalyst to bring in the further end time events with the Jays and Israel and all the Palestinians and the war and the famines and the diseases, everything that is going on plays a factor into this. And he warned us about this. Like he was aware of what would happen and what he said would happen. We're seeing it now. So I mean, you can't be too clueless to overlook that.
Okay, I see a comment you put up here on my live stream the other day. You said, y'all need to submit yourself to Joseph Stalin and the Book of Mormon. Well, what's that about?
Stalin.
Oh, Smith, excuse me, Smith.
I mean, that's just a passing by joke, man.
I mean, how are people supposed to take these things as a joke, man?
Oh, I mean,
Say
I'm
for
a
instance,
comedian. I'm a funny guy. It's expected
yeah,
with the
but what I'm
territory.
saying is when you put comments up, people can't tell your facial expression through a comment. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to tell when someone's being sarcastic or making a true remark. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I really don't care what people think. I mean, that's fine.
Well, I'm saying, shouldn't you care how you present yourself to people?
No,
Like,
they should ask
Do you
questions.
think Christ went around like that, or do you think he had?
I'm not Christ.
Um, I didn't say. Well, hold up a second. Aren't you supposed to be like Christ? Like,
I'm
follow
supposed to
after
be
his
like
footsteps?
Christ, but I'm not Christ.
I'm not saying you are Christ, but shouldn't you be trying to live as Christ lived?
I think I'm doing fairly well, for the most part.
Fairly well. Would Jesus go around and teach about Adolf and World War II and about picking a side? Would Christ go around and say that? Come on,
I
man.
would say, yeah, most definitely.
Most definitely. Well, where in the Bible does Christ ever fought for another nation other than his people Israel? Like, where does it say that
Well,
the
I mean, that's
Germans
a
are his
different
people?
discussion, but I mean, uh, this was a Christian nation. They heavily were a Christianized regime, other than like a few Norse pagan people and like trying to like bring that in, but that was just a small group.
I mean,
And
well, they say
they,
America was a Christian nation too. Do you accept that?
well, no, I mean you could compare the the societal structure and what they promoted and what was going on to America, and it's like day and night. So I mean, there's like they fought the communists. Germany fell into a momentarily they fell into a communist regime. They're promoting prostitution. A lot of the Jays started universities that taught actually the first transgender studies and a bunch of stuff like that. Just a bunch of debauchery and degeneracy and immorality. And once the guy came into power, he put a stop to all that, and they burnt those books and booted them all out of like the country, exiled them all, or put them to forced labor camps. So I mean, yeah, it's definitely day and night compared to what America.
So you're saying, just so I understand, so you're saying that it's like a myth how people say it. They're like that they ran like terrible human experiments, like the one a creepypasta they have about the Russian sleep experiment or something like that. Like Germans, you're saying weren't doing stuff like that back then. There weren't anything inhumane that they were practicing behind closed doors. Just so I
I
understand.
mean, there's a possibility, but I mean that's based off of more of like individuality. I mean, like even the mustache man had his own Judas, which would be Himmler. He sold out the country in the very end to United States, trying to cooperate them and surrender the war to the Allies. So I mean, like, there's probably a lot of stuff, but I mean, institutionalized, definitely not.
Okay. But what about like God saying that Israel was his number one? Like where is it saying that God is dwelling with the people of Germany now? Because as far as I'm aware, the Bible says that Israel is God's chosen people. So he wouldn't fight for another nation that's not Israel, right?
I mean, that's kind of like irrelevant. I mean, but like we can
How's that
even argue
irrelevant?
if like Germans are Israelites. So in reality, I would say that they are based off of what I've known. And so I mean, yeah, there'd be him fighting with his people.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's a definitely interesting view, man. So you're saying you haven't just came up with this within the last like 6 months. You've truly believed this stuff for like the last 2 or 3 years, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, definitely not like the whole like Hitler stuff. You know what I'm saying? But like the Israelites being in Europe. Actually, you've had Israelites come on here that have talked about how there's Israelites in Europe. Like that one guy Ronan that comes on here. I believe that's his name. He's even mentioned this to you, and like I've acknowledged that in the comments. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, well, obviously, we teach that Israel is scattered among all nations of the world. So there's Israelites in all seven continents on earth. I'm not going to deny that. Real quick, here's a good verse I want to throw at you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all the people that are upon the face of the earth." So God's only dealing with the nation of Israel as his people, not Germany.
Well, I mean, Germany is German, so I mean, if that's Israel, I mean, then I mean, he's operating with Israelites.
Okay. Well, Jay, one thing I was curious that I seen you mention on like one of your streams in the past. I don't think it really got to speak about it. Is what about this thing you were saying about Satan is actually a female? Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. I mean, I think that the devil is a woman. But I mean, you probably will laugh at that and like, oh, that's not what the Bible says. But I mean, like, you got to experience that firsthand, and I don't think you have really dealt with women in a general sense. And if you meet men out there, I've heard this repeated many different times, is that when you deal with like the devil, it's like dealing with a woman. It's like dealing with a very narcissistic, selfish woman. And the Satan is a spirit that gives off feminine energy.
But just so I understand, so I'm not confused. So you're saying Well, clarify this. Are you saying that Satan is a he or a she or just genderless? Like, what one of those would you say?
I mean, people say it's a man. Uh, from
Would
my
you say the
experience, I
Bible
would
says
say it's
it's
a
a man,
woman.
or that the people just say that?
Say again.
Would you say the Bible says that he's a man, or that
Well, I
people
mean,
are
it
just
it
saying that?
refers to the devil as a he, masculine terminology.
Well, let me throw this verse at you just for the audience so they can keep the pace with what we're saying. This is bear with me one second. This is First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour." So would you agree the text calls Satan a he here?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is you like the devil gives off a very feminine aspect. It gives off feminine energy, and if you deal with women in life, that's you'll see the correlation.
What's feminists like about him?
What is feminist like about him?
Yeah, or
Oh, I mean, like the devil is very narcissistic. It's trying to destroy everything that's masculine, replace it with feminine things. Very, very condescending, coming to destroy. Comes as will come to you with temptation. That's a big thing that he comes with. Women do that. Um, try to what they call love bomb you, like women do, just to like destroy you internally.
okay. What about Matthew 25 verse 41? It says, "And then shall he say unto them, Depart on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels." So I'm just showing a couple verses from the Bible that keep alluding to Satan as a he or a him, just like how we see God referred to as a he or a him, because there's people out there today that will tell you with a straight face, oh, well, God is genderless, or hell, God is a woman. But
Yeah,
we can
that's
go to these
retarded.
verses in the Bible and show, well, look, it calls God a he or a him. Now, did you catch that, Jay? As I was speaking there, you said, yeah, that's retarded how people can say that God is genderless or a woman. I agree with you. But I do have to ask you, though, if you would agree that the text proves that God is a he or a him, where it calls him a he or a him or his, would you not then agree that Satan is a male as well? Because we just saw two examples where it calls Satan a he or a his. So
Yeah,
wouldn't
but
that
I
prove
already
that Satan's a
acknowledged that
male?
to you right before you even read those verses. That I'm aware that the Bible calls the devil Satan he terminology. So I mean, yeah, I'm aware of that. You know, hey, that might be a possibility. But I
Right, but
mean, if that's
I'm
the
just curious.
possibility, then the devil works with femininity because
Right, but you see,
Christ is
but Jay,
righteous and masculine, so the devil is the opposite of that.
I'm just asking though, because we both acknowledge that the text calls Satan a he or a him. So I'm just curious where you're getting the notion that he might be a female if the text tells us that it's a he or a him. So it would make a male, right?
I mean, yeah, that's a possibility.
What do you mean possibility though? Like, say for instance, what if somebody says, well, it's a possibility that God might be a woman, even though these verses say that God is a he and a him?
Well, I mean, that's retarded.
So why would it not be retarded to say that Satan's a woman if it calls him a
Well,
male?
as I said, man, like this is something that I don't think you really have like experienced in life. For the most part, I don't think you really have ever like been with a woman or if
Actually,
any
I
multiple.
just to correct you, I have. Just to correct you.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah,
Now what
it,
does it have to do with Satan being a male or a female? Because again, man, hey, look, you can believe what you want, but all I'm showing for the audience listening is that Jay is saying one thing, but the text is telling us another. So again, you're welcome to believe Satan's a, female, or has mixed genders. Anyone's welcome to go believe that. But if we're talking about what the text says, the text tells us that Satan is a male. So that should really be the end of discussion there, because the Holy Bible that I thought you believed in says that Satan is a him or a he.
Well, I mean,
So
this
he
is an
can't be female.
irrelevant discussion, but I'm telling you, this is just something that you got to experience. This is the devil works in women. The devil gives off feminine aspects, and this society used to be built off of a man, and the Bible is built on the patriarchy image. Jesus, God, the man is the head of the household, and so the devil is trying to reverse all that. If you look at society today with the feminine goals, the feminine achievements, women equal rights, they're trying to put themselves above man, because in nature man is on top of the food chain when it comes to sexes and genders. And that's that's just how it's supposed to be, and the devil is trying to destroy that, and also the nuclear family, and put women on top because they are very easily manipulated. And so I mean, like, if you say it could be metaphorically or literally, that the devil is a woman, because it comes off as a woman. Everything that he
Okay.
does, you can see it within women.
Okay. Well, would you say
Not
that
saying that all women are bad. I never even said that. I'm just
Right,
saying, like,
I understand.
yeah,
I understand what you're saying, but just to clarify for the audience, because again, there's people watching who, would look up to you as a teacher of the Bible, or at least, used to, depending on our audience. So would you say that we can't take the text for face value, that it might just be like allegorical or something?
I mean, I really don't have an answer for you there. I mean, I would have to go back to look at the previous two languages. These, I would say, I guess these verses were written in. But then again, I really don't know, nor do I
Well,
really
I'll give
care.
you a bonus example. Like in Revelation, it might be the 12th chapter, but it says that Satan's come down upon the world because he knows that he has a short time. So that's another reference to Satan being a male. But
Yeah, but I know these verses though, so I mean, I
real
really
quick,
don't
what
know
about
why you're
demons?
like
Do
reading
you
them.
believe? Wait, I'm sorry, say that again.
I said I know these verses though. I know that the Bible calls the devil a he and a him.
Okay. Well, what about demons? Do you believe that there's female demons too, or are they males?
I mean, I don't think it really specifies, but probably not.
Okay. So if all the demons are males, are they all following a woman's orders then?
I mean, probably cucks.
Okay.
But I
Do you
mean,
believe
demons are controlled by God. So I mean,
well, that was actually ties into what I was going to ask you. Do you believe that Satan fell from heaven, or do you not accept that?
uh, no.
Okay.
Do you believe
Because
that?
most no, sir. I had to ask you because hell, now you don't know if Satan's a male or a female. So hell, I don't know, what you believe of his backstory. You know what I'm saying? So it always helps just to ask, so I don't misrepresent your perspective. So if you don't believe Satan fell, do you believe any angels fell then, or no?
I mean, no. What about you?
Okay, because no, sir. But the reason I'm asking, because I thought you, let's say 3 years ago, you brought up on one of your streams about the Watchers in the Book of Enoch, about how they like rebelled in the beginning or something like that. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah, definitely.
So do you not believe that anymore? Or changed your view, or what's up with that?
I don't know, man. I haven't really touched that in a while. Probably. I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Well, yeah, man. I mean, you got anything else on your mind?
No, not really.
Well, here's one thing I'll throw at you just to keep the conversation going. I saw when you were on my stream the other day, well, premiere, I guess I'll call it. You were saying that I'm like deceiving the people. I'm teaching a lie. Could you just like give one or two examples of a lie that I'm teaching, just so I can maybe see my error or whatever? Like, well,
Oh
what am
yeah,
I
it's
telling the
referring
people?
to um, World War II and Hitler.
Really? Like that's the lie that I'm
Well, yeah,
teaching
it's
people.
definitely a lie.
Come
But
on,
I was
man, you
just
can do
speaking,
better than this.
in a general sense that you say these things don't matter, or like why even worry about them when you should. These are some things that you should know.
So we should know about that, but somehow I'm like in error for going around and talking about how like the teenage myth and when children actually grow up, like I shouldn't teach that. I shouldn't talk
Oh
about
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure, man. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, definitely. I forgot all about that. Yeah, yeah, man. There's a time and place for things. I mean, you see all this shit going on with all these these child predators and sex traffickers and these Jews and the Epstein files. So I mean, um, and like you're reading from a book titled by some J philosopher from what Harvard or something, and that guy's a weirdo himself. And I mean, this
Well,
is the
what
same
makes
kind.
you say that? What
Well, I
makes you
mean,
say that? Because I think, just bear with me a second, because I think that you're talking out of your ass is what you're doing. But
that's
I'm gonna
fine.
get, but I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna show you some mercy, and I'm gonna give you a chance to elaborate to prove your statement. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, that's fine. Robert Epstein, this what is he, a professor? The same kind of stuff that he's into is what he promotes and what he teaches and have studied is very similar to like people like Sigmund Freud. If you don't know who that is,
I know who it
okay,
is.
all right. Magnus Hirschfeld, a lot of these people like that who are also communists, by the way, and Jewish, and the stuff that they promote is what the Mustache Man and his regime, when they came to power, threw out of the country and tore down the universities and burned their books and these studies because they promote transgenderism and all this immoral stuff. So I mean, yeah, I definitely wouldn't agree with it.
What would just to clarify for me? What would you not agree with?
Well, I mean, you're promoting uh age of consent laws and like kind of like tried to demonstrate them how they're kind of irrelevant
Well,
due to like
am
how
I?
you
Am
can't
I?
buy beer or cigarettes and stuff like that.
Just hold bear with me a second. Am I wrong with doing that? Am I wrong to criticize the wicked for their double standards and hypocrisy?
Well, I really wouldn't call that double standard or
How is
hypocrisy.
that not a
I
double
mean,
standard? Like say for instance, like Judah came up here. He's 20 years old. How is it morally wrong for him to go get a six pack and drink that? But magically, in 9 months from now it's okay. You
I
believe
mean,
that because you're told to believe that. You
That's a
have no
straw
sense in
man
your head.
argument. That's what they
How
want
is
you
that a
to
straw man
use
argument?
when it comes to this kind of situation. So if you can use that argument, then it's okay to use another argument, and then you use another one where now you're getting into age of consent laws, and a 30-year-old man can date a 12-year-old, and then that's fine because 6 months ago we were debating if that 20-year-old or 19-year-old could buy a pack of smokes. I mean, that's what they want you to do. And
What are
so
you?
they
Just to
promote this kind of stuff.
okay, but real
They
quick,
want you
I
to talk
want to.
about this.
Hey Jay, I want to hold you on that because I think you are a liar and a hypocrite. How could you say they promote that if the world is turning on that idea? Like, say for instance, like even saying that, well, say a 25-year-old gets with a 17 or 16-year-old, everybody immediately thinks that's creepy and wants to crucify him. So what are you talking about? That's like their agenda to try to get the world to accept that. That's
Yeah,
not
no,
what they. That is not what they want people to
that's
accept. They want
exactly
you
what
to.
they want.
They want. I don't want to mute you. Just listen to me, and I will let you talk. Their agenda and their message is every girl in the world, regardless of race, gender, or wherever she's born, are all equally babies until the day they turn 18. That's the doctrine. That is the message that they promote upon the whole world and push upon all nations. For you to say that's not true, you just have no research into what you're talking about. Like, what are you going? You're going to tell me that statement's not true? Like, what are you talking about? You're a
No, see,
novice lifted up with pride, is what you are.
what no, you're very prideful and very boastful, but I'm not talking about that now.
Are you
But
sure about that, my
yeah,
friend?
I'm very,
Could you
very
give
sure
could you
about
give
that.
it? I mean, well, I'm not the one
But
going around saying that Adolf is a hero and that Satan
they
is a woman.
definitely is because people like you have already been exiled by now. But look,
Man,
check
this
this.
this is sad, man. This is
That
sad.
what you're trying to promote and what you're defending right now, maybe the masses are promoting that, but the elite are definitely that's the agenda to like usher in this kind of like first now we're talking about if 19, 18 year olds, oh, maybe they should be able to buy liquor now. Maybe they could go to a bar, but then now they're talking about marriage and age of consent laws, and maybe we should lower them. Like that's exactly what they want you to talk about, so they can bring that in because they're trying to destroy the country from within. They're trying to bring in immorality and
But
debauchery. And I see the guy
hold
in
up.
the moment
Hey,
talking about Western values. This is not Western values. This is just reality. These are the tools of
hey,
tactics that the
Jay.
Jews use.
Hey, Jay. Let me just sit on the back seat for a second here. So I want to ask you a question then. So if you're saying that early marriage, right, teen marriage, you're saying is like a evil thing they want to bring upon the world. Well, by that logic, you're saying that the Bible is promoting evil because people in the Bible marry between 12 to 15. So you're saying that the Bible's promoting evil and New World Order agenda then by your perspective. Like, are you not saying that? By you sitting there
I mean,
saying, "Oh,
I'm not three or
hear out
four
what I'm saying.
thousand years
Hear
ago.
out
I
what
mean,
I'm
that's irrelevant.
hear out what I'm saying, and I will allow you to speak." But you sitting up here condemning teen marriage, saying that that's like a agenda that they want to push on the world and a bad thing. Well, then by logic, then you're saying that the Bible promotes evil then because people in the Bible married at 12 to 15. Hell, even there's people alive today who will tell you, yeah, 80, 90 years ago in America, sometimes people got married at 15 or 16 years old. So what you're saying, you're actually pushing the agenda by trying to, keep upping these ages and putting more restrictions upon these people. You're actually pushing the agenda, not the other way around. Just to fact check you on that statement. You can speak.
What is there to speak about? I mean, like,
Again,
I really don't
you
care
are a
what they did
novice,
ten
man. You
thousand
are a
years ago. I
novice.
mean, that's irrelevant. We're like now, times have
So,
changed.
so if that's irrelevant, so say for instance, so can a man have more than one wife today, or is that irrelevant because we live in the 21st century?
That depends who you are. If you want to have more than one wife, I mean, that's fine. But that's we're not talking about like the extent of how many wives you have. We're talking about the age of consent stuff.
Yeah, and I'm pointing out that that's literally just made up within the last 150 years, and it literally, like again, let me educate you again. Around the world, there are 197 countries that exist in 1,000 different territories or provinces. The age of consent ranges from as low as 11 to as high as 21. So it shows it's just a arbitrary and made up opinion that a group of guys just came up with. And to pretend that that's not true, you're just being willfully dishonest. To pretend that that's
I
not
mean,
true.
those are other countries. I mean, that's irrelevant.
How's
But
that irrelevant?
well, I mean, I live in America, and so I mean, this is like probably at one time
Well,
was
well, let
a
me ask
good
you this.
country.
Well, hold on. In America, it's okay to be gay. So, like, why are you not backing that up then?
Well, I definitely am backing that up. That's one of the tools
Wait.
that they're
Can you
using to
say that
bring in what
again?
you're talking about.
Wait, Jay. I don't want to misrepresent you. Did you say you are backing it up? The idea that people can be gay?
Oh no, not at all. No.
That's
But
okay. I wanted you to
they
clarify
use
because
that. They use people. So like Obama started this, but they've been trying to like push this for a while. It's like they legalized it, but now what to the extent will they legalize now? No, that's the kicker.
Okay, so let me ask you the question. Why does being gay matter anymore if we're living in the 21st century? Can't we just say that was like old times, like a few thousand years ago? Why do you have such pushback against that compared to, like, say, a 16 and 20-year-old marrying? Like, why do you have such pushback against that, but you have nothing to say about the neighbor next door who wants to go sleep with another man?
What do you mean? I disown that all
Yeah,
the time.
but here's what I'm criticizing you on. Listen closely. I'm asking you if it's such a problem today because we're in the 21st century. Sure, maybe a few thousand years ago, people married early, but you're saying we're in a different time and place. So let's use the same logic. So a few thousand years ago, in the Bible, in the culture, it was wrong to be gay. But hey, we're living in the 21st century now. So why should you push back against that? Shouldn't you be open to that because we're now living in a new century and age? Like, you see, you're using a complete double standard is what
Well,
you're
no,
doing.
now you're just flipping the script, and like that's dishonest. But I mean,
Well,
that's also irrelevant
answer my
because like
question, Jay. Though, answer my question. Why do you view?
what
What,
I'm like defending, they really didn't do that back then.
wait. Can you clarify what are you saying they didn't do back then? What are you saying?
A 50-year-old wasn't marrying 11-year-olds. If they did that, I mean, like like they'd probably be
Well,
killed.
what about King David?
What about King David?
When he was on his deathbed, they brought him a young virgin. Did they not?
I mean, we've already talked about this in the past. I mean,
Answer
like
my question. You said that
you
didn't happen in the
sexualize a lot of
Bible.
stuff.
Let me read this for the audience. Jay, you are a liar and you are not a teacher of the Lord. This is the book of 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 1. Now King David was old and stricken in years. They covered him with clothes, but he got no heat. Therefore a servant said unto him, Let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her cherish the king, let her stand before him, let her lie in thy bosom, that the Lord my king might get heat. So they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coast of Israel, and they found Abishag, a Shumanite, and brought her to the king. So they brought this old King David who was on his deathbed, right? He was on his way out. So they sought through Israel and brought him a young virgin. So do you stand corrected on your statement or what?
I don't know what you mean by stand corrected, but I mean, there's not really any implication in there that he slept with her. And I mean, if they did, I mean, that's adultery.
Why would that be adultery?
I mean, some random broad.
Random broad. But
Yeah.
wouldn't adultery be sleeping with another man's wife?
Okay.
Like
I
remember,
guess I
Jay,
don't know.
you're supposed to be a teacher of the Bible. How do you not know the law, man? Yeah, I call
The
you
law.
slacking off, my guy.
Okay.
Like here's what I think, man. You shouldn't go around and claim that you're teaching the Bible because from your own admission, you're unsure about what you believe right now. You don't know if Mormonism got the truth. You don't know if the Hebrew Israelites got the truth. Don't know if the Germans have the truth. You're all over the place, right? You're flip flopping left and right. So really, what would be smart for you to do would be take a year break from YouTube, go play games and do your research before you come online and try to teach people because you are clearly clueless. And I don't say this out of hate or disrespect. I truly care for you, man, because, I've known you for years, but, you definitely fell off the deep end, man. You're going down the wrong direction. And I really hope that repent from this. I really hope that you turn from the path you're on, my friend, because you're heading down a destruction path, man. Hey, Matthew 7:13. Right? The broad path that leads people astray, you're on that. You really need to turn from this. That's my warning for you. Mike, cheers.
Well, I mean, I really don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, like you promote a lot of immoral shit, and I think you need to repent of it.
What immoral shit am I promoting? Because as far as I'm aware, all that I teach is in the Holy Bible. So what immoral shit am I teaching? Can you clarify? Why are you lying on somebody?
Well, let's say hypothetically, let's say that your neighbor has a 10-year-old Would you marry that 10-year-old just because the Bible says that? Well, you believe that it says that that's all right.
If somebody went and did it, I couldn't say nothing because the law of the Bible says it's moral. So I can't condemn him for that because that's in the
Okay,
Holy
yeah,
Bible.
that's what I
Like
wanted to
I'll
hear.
give you wait, I'll give you another example. Like let's flip the switch. Let's say if a man found out his neighbor was gay and he killed him. I mean, hey, maybe it wasn't a smart idea to do, sure, because now he's going to go to prison for the rest of his life, yeah. But I can't condemn him for that because that's in the law that a gay person, that they have to be exterminated according to the Bible. So if he did that, I can't do anything about that because that's in the law. I'll give you another example. If a father that's devoutly religious found out his daughter was sleeping around making a whore of herself, the Bible says she's supposed to be killed. So if the man did kill his daughter, I can't say anything to him because he did what the law says. Now, maybe was it a good idea? I mean, we could discuss that, but we can't criticize him because he did what the Bible says. You know what I'm
Well, I
saying?
mean,
So,
what age do you draw a line at? I mean, like, do you
well, I
further
answer.
decrease?
I'm sorry, you said what?
I said, do you keep further decreasing until there's a point in time? Do you keep going lower?
Yeah, the Bible clearly teaches that there's a limit, right? The marriageable age in the Bible is puberty. If a child has not hit puberty, if they don't have a sexually developed reproductive system, then you can't sleep with them. That would be a sin punishable by death. But if they have a working reproductive system, it's moral according to the Bible to sleep with them. Now, I'm not giving sexual advice, so if anybody does something and gets themselves in trouble, that's on them. But all I'm saying is that
Now,
according
see,
to
I
the
knew you
word,
were going to say that, but there's examples out here in time where where there's children as young as like 9 or 8 years old where they start experiencing puberty. Like there's a story of this 9-year-old, I believe, or 8-year-old. She got pregnant because she was a victim of sexual assault. So I mean,
right,
like,
I
what do you do
understand.
about this kind of circumstances? Would you go even lower as that because they hit puberty at a lower age?
What I would say is that through history, it's always been common between 11 to 13, 14. That's what's natural. These things happening today are unnatural. It's something called pre-precocious puberty, which can be set on a few years early due to multiple different symptoms and circumstances. Why? We're talking about natural progression, which natural for thousands of years has been between 11 to 15. That is what we're talking about here, natural. Okay, what you believe, right? The morality you believe is that every girl is just young and innocent until the day she turns 18, right? So 2 months ago she was a child, but now she just grew up overnight, right? Like say for instance, like little Shirley over there, oh, she's 17. Oh, well, look, I gotta wait 3 more months until she's 18 before I ask for her phone number, right? So you'll literally, be sitting there, counting down the months and weeks and days. Like that's not normal. That's
Well,
evil.
no, that's another
That's evil
discussion
to
now. I mean,
believe and
like,
think like
just got
that.
to leave the youth to the youth. I mean, I've known guys that, 18, 19 with like 17-year-olds fresh out of high school, but there's laws that protect people for that. It's called Romeo and Juliet laws. But that, I
Right?
mean, that's
Okay.
irrelevant because,
But I
just
want I
leave the
want to
youth
point
to the
out
youth.
though, hey Jay, are those laws made up by the same people who are trying to control and deceive the society, or were those given by angels on high down to man? So what you're believing and teaching is what's made up by other people, and you just blindly believe it because you're dumb, just like everybody else in the society. Just pointing
I
that
mean,
out that these
I mean,
things that you're saying are
you
just
act like
made,
a
they can
Jew.
literally just
So, I
change
mean,
like next week. Like I'll give you an example. Did you know, funny you talk about drinking earlier, but did you know that like 50 years ago you could legally drink at 18? I bet you didn't know that. But now all of a sudden you believe it's 21 because the government just told you that. And now you view it weird if a girl or a guy drinks at 17, 18, or 19.
well, I mean,
You find
see
that weird
exactly. These
now
these
because
are
that's the
the
society you grew
these
up in.
are the arguments that they want you to argue. So then you can
Well,
debate stuff like how you promote from a guy by the name of Robert Epstein.
okay. Hey Jay, are you a scholar?
I would say I'm not a scholar, but damn near to one.
You believe in the book of Deuteronomy, Leviticus, and Numbers, correct?
Correct.
Inspired by God through Moses?
Correct.
Okay, thank you very much. Could you give me a breakdown of Numbers chapter 31, verse 18, 19? It says, this is when Israel was in siege against another nation. I'll start at 17. It says, now therefore cut every male among the little ones and kill every woman that have not known a man by lying with them. But all the women children that have not known a man by lying with them, keep alive for yourselves. So is the Bible promoting evil here, or how do you explain that?
Hold on. Who is it?
Let me read it one more time for you. Verse 18. This is Numbers chapter 31, verse 18. It says, but all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. How do you understand that? Like, you're going to sit there and tell me that they didn't marry young in the Bible.
No, I'm sure that they did.
Say for instance,
But I
like
mean, that's like 3,000 or
you'll sit there
4,000
and
years ago.
criticize Muhammad for Aisha, right? But you won't acknowledge these facts that in the Bible, men had young brides. Like,
But
that's
I
your
didn't even mention
hypocrisy in
Muhammad.
Islam.
But yeah, that's a whole nother thing. But I mean, well, Aisha was 9 years old. So if you're talking about puberty, that's not 12. And so, yeah, he would definitely be going off by your standards. So I don't know why you would defend that. But
Okay, well, hey, knucklehead, listen here real quick. I didn't say that I'm defending Muhammad. I criticized you for talking shit about Muhammad, but then you don't want
I
to
never even
acknowledge.
talked about Muhammad in this
You don't want to.
conversation.
Hey, listening is an art, and you are doing a terrible job at it, as Tazariak would say. So I'm criticizing you. I'm showing you in the Old Testament, in the law, where God told them to keep the young women children alive for themselves when they besieged their enemies. But you'll criticize Islam about Muhammad having a young wife, but you don't want to address these things in your Old Testament that you believe in. That makes you a hypocrite. Now answer the
I
question.
wouldn't say no.
How do you address this?
How would I address them taking, like, what, concubines?
Let me read it again because I see you're dancing, man. You're dancing
Well,
around
I'm
these
taking a
scriptures like
piss
the
right
bottom
now, so
half of
like I'm
Betty
trying to like
Whipple.
avoid multiple people talking to me. So go ahead.
Okay, well, let me read it one more time for you. It says, verse 18, Numbers 31:18 says, but all the women children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. What do you think about that?
What is there to think about it?
I'm saying, do you accept that that's in the Old Testament that you said you believe in, or because how
Sure.
are you going to sit there and wait? I'm sorry, you said what?
I said sure.
Okay, so would you go around and criticize Muhammad for having a young wife then, if you acknowledge that that's in your Bible?
Yeah, definitely would.
You would go around and so you're admitting you're a hypocrite.
I wouldn't say I'm a hypocrite.
Well, how are you not? They're just showing you where young marriage is at in your Old Testament that you believe in. But then you said you would still continue to criticize Islam for having a quote unquote child marriage.
Well, I mean, Islam is pagan, and by your standards, you have rules to your young marriages. And Muhammad married a 9-year-old, and
Now, once
I mean,
again,
so
once again, you are very slow. Maybe lay off some of that fluoride water and Gatorade you're drinking. I did not
that's
come
you.
on here. Hear me out.
With
I
the
did not. I did not defend Muhammad. I don't believe in Islam. Muhammad is a false prophet. But all I'm saying is, how can you logically sit there and criticize Muhammad's marriage to a young woman, a young girl, if in the Bible I've shown you that God said they could have the young woman as brides? Like, how can you not see the point I'm saying? You just don't want to
I mean,
acknowledge this because you
that's a
have to
very
now
like
reject the
straight
Old
answer.
Testament.
There's not really like any kind of really breakdown regarding that. I mean, that's just like a statement. You could take that as however you want.
Okay, so will you acknowledge then for a straight answer, the girls in the Bible marry at like 13, 14, 15 years old? Do you acknowledge that? Or is that
I
a
mean, yeah, I've
conspiracy?
already acknowledged that to you a while ago,
Okay, so from your
but that's
perspective,
irrelevant. I'm not three or
does the
four
Bible
thousand
promote
years ago.
evil
I'm
then?
not.
Does the Bible promote evil from your perspective?
Well, I mean, No, I would not say that at all. But you got to look at the times have changed. A lot of people back then, lived shorter lives. I mean, most of like young men and women were marrying around like 15, 16. So like, they were already starting
Well,
families,
well, I mean,
running the
they still do
household.
this today in like the Middle East. So, like, would you condemn that as wrong, even though the Bible says that that's moral?
I would say
Just
I
because
would
your
condemn it
Americanization has
when
taught you otherwise?
I would condemn it when like it probably would exceed to when like the daughter is old enough to be when the girl is old enough to be the age that, let's say, the guy would have a daughter at. Like, it's kind of just gross. You don't find that gross?
I mean, I wouldn't say that there's a problem with a person. Like, say for instance, I'll give you an example. Like, I know when I was 15, I found women that were 10 or 15 years older than myself attractive. Every guy does. I even see knuckleheads in the world making memes about this. So this is not some creepy or strange thing. This is what the elite want us to think, because it depopulates the people, right? People are not reproducing as often. People are waiting later in life to where women lose their eggs around like 30 to 35, like 90% of their eggs by that point. So women are waiting until they're in their 30s to 40s to start having children today. That's what they want. They don't want us reproducing early. Now, I do have to go here because it's getting late for me. Do you have any like last minute point before I drop you or what?
Yeah, man. I just think you're very deceptive and dishonest and boastful and prideful and disloyal.
I mean, you are welcome to say that, but I want to clarify for the audience. This guy says he believes in Jesus, but he also believes in Adolf and the Germans.
Correct.
So, hey, you can choose who you
He
want to
got it.
believe. Am I telling you the truth, or is this numbskull telling you the truth? The audience can decide. But Jay, my final warning to you is you better repent, because if you don't, on Judgment Day, you're gonna. I feel bad for you, man. I
I
hope
do
Christ
got
has mercy on
one
you,
more
man.
statement if you allow me to say it.
Yes, sir.
You, my friend, you're no different than a Jew.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night. All right, so I'll wrap the stream up there. I told that dude I'd bring him on. It's really sad that how far this guy has fallen, man. Jay used to be actually a decent guy, a couple years ago. But he's really fallen off within the last year. The dude clearly doesn't know anything about a damn thing, making a damn clown and a buffoon out of himself. It really is sad and pathetic. And you can see that. You can see that this dude is just a numbskull speaking ignorance. But hey, let the ignorant be ignorant. Let the gullible be gullible. Let the sinner still remain as a sinner. But let the righteous remain righteous. That's what the Bible says. And what was that, Revelation 22, 21 or 22? You can pull that up. Okay, so if he wants to go believe the nonsense he believes, he's welcome to believe it. But Jay, you got crushed, man. Right? You got in this debate, you lost. Right? In metaphorical terms, I crucified this dude. And again, I'm sad to say that because I consider this guy to be a friend for a while. I've known him since like 2019. But sometimes people change over time, man. Right? Sometimes people just change. And he's a sad example like that. But anyway, if anybody made it to the end of the live stream, put #world, if anybody made it to the end. We'll give Luke a little shout out because he's been here for a while. But anyway, I'm gonna wrap the show up there.